Everybody, we got a couple more likes and a little bit of reviews on iTunes.
Yes, we got a mystery guest commenting on our iTunes.
Yeah, Trish 18. What is it? Trishy?
No, that was the Instagram follower. I don't know who she was.
The other one is Beth AJ. Thank you, Beth.
Yeah, she left a nice little comment.
Yeah, a little mysterious woman, Beth.
Thank you, Beth. We're kind of curious what you look like. We're wondering if you're looking hot over there. I'm sure if you're listening to us, I'm sure you're smoking hot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because that's the kind of ladies that are drawn to us.
Yeah,
in our dreams. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. If she listens to the last podcast, she might unsubscribe.
Yeah. So how's life?
It's just not too different than the last we spoke. It's still quarantine, still Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Same old shit.
Now I hear you, man. It's funny because I didn't do anything really over the weekend. And I took a trip out to Kohl's.
Oh.
And meanwhile, like I'm on Instagram seeing like people get fucking wasted at the bars and the beaches and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey guys, I just bought a 12-piece non-stick Calphalon 1 pot set. Like that's
yeah.
I'm like, this is my life now.
If I like had that's why I can't work Instagram, because if I was posting like everyday pictures of my life, people be like, this guy's fucking sad.
Yeah, like what the fuck were you listening to this guy for?
Yeah.
No, I feel the same way, dude. I was literally like, I'm seriously watching people doing shots and shit, like on Instagram, and I'm sitting there like in line with a 12-piece fucking pot set, like, oh yeah, this is cool, I guess.
I love them lines though. That's where all the best shit is. It's like, oh, there's fucking candy I haven't seen in fucking 80 years.
Yeah, like I don't even know what the point of that is.
Yeah. It's like I know exactly what the point of that is, because I fucking go up there with $20 worth of shit and then get to the counter with $50 worth of shit.
Well, it's like you're just waiting in line and as fucking us glutton Americans go, like, oh, chocolate.
Oh, lemon heads.
Yeah.
You remember lemon heads? I seen fucking lemon heads at Michael's Arts and Crafts the other day. And I was like, I gotta get me some lemon heads.
You know what? I gotta go to Michael's. I gotta get a few things. I think I want to start painting.
Dude, I painted. I had the fucking painting in here, but I did a nice. I almost want to grab it, but it's stupid. I don't want to mess up the podcast. But I had a nice oil painting of my niece. She looks like she has a fucking beard though, so I have to fucking fix it.
That's not supposed to be there.
Yeah, I said it to my brother. He was like, "Why does she have a beard?" I'm like, "All right, forget it. It's not nice."
Can you draw?
A little bit. You want me to grab it?
I mean,
yeah, it's whatever. It's right. I'll get it in a minute. Well, I'll show it to you at some point.
Yeah, I can't draw. I can't draw for shit.
Well, I can sometimes, but dude, this one I did pretty good. Hang in there, then. I'm gonna grab it. Give me 1 second. I can fix it and shit. But so the thing that's cool about that is, dude, I took a fucking chance on a pretty tough picture, and I didn't even fucking sketch that thing out. I just fucking painted it, and I was pretty impressed.
That's not bad. You're like fucking Danny Picasso.
Danny Picasso.
Danny, that should be that could be a fucking t-shirt right there.
Yeah.
But we have to say in like the Italian, like South Philly, like Danny Picasso, there he is. Look at that guy.
Hey, it's Danny Picasso.
Hey, Danny, why don't you draw a picture of my dog, huh?
Yeah, put a beard on him.
Yeah.
That'll be my thing. I put a beard on everything. I put a beard on everything.
Yeah, that's your signature.
Yeah.
Oh, is that a Danny Picasso? Of course.
Yeah, is she the beard?
Yeah, that beard on that beautiful young lady. That looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Is that a circus? Is she joining the circus, that little girl? No, you know what else I did over the weekend? Did you ever watch The Chi?
No.
It's a show on Showtime, and it takes place in Chicago. And it's a good show. And I watched the first season. It came on probably like 2 years ago. And then I didn't have Showtime anymore, so I got rid. So I wasn't able to catch season 2. Now I have it again. It's on season 3. Caught up on season 2. Start season 3 last night, and the way it starts, I'm like, hold on a minute. Did I fucking miss something? Like, I had to go back to the last episode and replay it because I'm like, oh, what the fuck just happened here?
SHY?
Yeah, it's just The Shy. And I think Common, I don't know if Common maybe produces it. I know he's in it. But anyway, I was like really into it. And then the way it started on season 3, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I actually had to go back. And like I said, I rewatched the end of it just to think if I missed anything. And then I had to start Googling shit because I'm like, none of this makes any fucking sense. So apparently one of the leads in the show, he played Eazy-E in the Straight Outta Compton movie. Apparently he had some issues with some of the female co-stars, and they had to can him.
It's great that you got into that because I like when you were saying, did you watch The Shy? A lot of these TV shows you'll ask me, do I watch them? Tom, I can't watch regular shit anymore. I can't watch like regular, like whatever's on Netflix, anything comes out new. It's like there's this, it's like creativity is fucking gone and everything's wrapped around like, the message we need to send or whatever. And it's like killing fucking TV for me. I can only watch like documentaries. I can't do it.
No, I got, and like, I know you're not a sports guy, but.
Well, I like the 30 for 30s.
Well, they're documentaries. Like, yeah, they're cool. But now with everything that's going on, I don't know if you know, like so the NBA, they're starting out in their bubble in Florida, and they're allowing players to put their causes on the back of their jerseys in place of their names.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. And listen,
do they announce it like that? Like, Black Lives Matter, dunks on all lives matter.
I don't even know. Like, I don't know how that's going to work.
Here's the funny part too. I can guarantee you that you can't put whatever your like. That's what's so funny. You can put whatever your cause is. I'm pretty sure that there's some people that either A, ain't gonna fucking put their cause on the back of their jersey, or B, if they wanted to. Like, do you think that there would be like a point guard in the NBA with a fucking Blue Lives Matter fucking on his jersey? Pretty doubtful.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But so they're allowing that. They're putting Black Lives Matter on the court. And listen, it's not even about that I'm against the causes.
It's just
so to speak. It's just like, listen, here's where I'm a little bit conflicted because I recognize that these are players that have a voice. And I realize that some people, like, they think, well, if we speak up, the people will hear and we can get things in motion. I to an extent, I understand that, but everything is so politicized right now. I just want to turn on sports and cheer for my team, dude. I just want to watch sports. You can't turn on anything now. I mean, even when you turn on ESPN, it's all political.
Well, you make a good point because, even though I don't fucking know a lot about sports, what I would say is that sports being like an American pastime, I know they attach that to baseball, but it's every sport is like they want sports to be back on the air because it helps people just kind of get away for a moment, give them something to cheer for. If you want to get away from all the shit that's going on and then you're watching basketball and you're seeing all the shit that's going on again, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, I mean they're doing it with football, not with the jerseys, but I guess they're putting Black Lives Matter flags up, and which now they're saying week 1 I think they're going to play the Black National Anthem.
I don't understand. I didn't know. I mean, maybe that's part of why they want to play it, but I didn't know there was a Black National Anthem.
I never Now listen, this may make me seem completely ignorant because I never even knew that there was one.
Yeah.
But I have a problem with it. And it's not because, see, I know that there's going to be people that are like, oh my God, you racist. That is not it at all. I just don't think, I think that there has to be something that we all unite under. Well, like that we can all have a common ground under and say, okay, like, and I know the whole thing with our national anthem, and it does have some, you know, some negative history, you know, intertwined with it. So, you know, I do understand.
Well, this is what I'm hearing when you're saying that. It's like this: if there's a black national anthem, then that implies to me that the national anthem is a white national anthem, and therefore, if there's such thing as a black national anthem, then that should just be the national anthem. And I'm not trying to fucking say it should be the national anthem. I'm just saying, like you said, well, there should be a national anthem that is for the nation, not this one's for these people and this one's for these people. I don't understand. You can't have a national anthem and then have to play it for everyone. Where's the Chinese national anthem? Where's the fucking...
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, are we going to... Because, okay, once we have the black national anthem and then we have the general national anthem, what happens in a few years from now when maybe we have an influx of Chinese players or Hispanic players? Yeah. Are we then going to have one for them too?
Well, and this is, but this is the thing, not even to make the argument that they should or that that it matters. What I'm trying to say, well, I mean, not that I'm arguing with you, but kind of everything we're saying is just basically like, we need a national anthem for everyone. That's it. That's the end game.
Yeah. Like, what is there ever are we going to go back to a time where everybody has something that we can all agree upon?
Yeah. And everybody will have their own little thing. So it'll be like, please rise for the Hispanic national anthem. And then there's certain people that want to fucking bow and knee and...
Yeah, like, how's that going to work? Like, if a white guy's like, well, I'm offended by something in this. And then he's like, I'm going to take a knee. Yeah. Could you fucking imagine? Like, what the fuck? Like,
the national anthem's going to look like fucking gym class. It'll be like people going like down, up, fucking jumping jacks.
And, you know, and again, I realize that some people are going to take that as like, I don't have any respect for that. And that's not the case at all. It's just a matter of, I think we need to find something that we can all agree on and unite under, as opposed to trying to please every single identity, race, culture. Yeah. Because that's not unifying to me.
Well, the thing too is that there's going to be, I feel like that's going to cause more problems, because there might be somebody who doesn't really mind the people that kneel or understands it, whatever. But now they're going to just be like, why the fuck are we playing two national anthems? And like, they're instead of bringing them together, it's going to take people who were like, you know, in the middle of it. And now they're going to be, because it's a reasonable thought to just not agree with two national anthems being played.
Well, I don't know that it's reasonable. I mean, not.
No. What I mean is, like, if you're like, dude, why are we like? I mean, like you said, like, what if there's three national anthems at one point or something? It's like, just go with one. If you don't like the one that's there, and no one, and you know, fucking change it then. But
and you know, the thing about the NFL was, I remember a few years ago there was a running back who wanted to do something. I think his mom was dying of breast cancer or something like that. So he wanted to do something, maybe like wears cleats. Certain cleats or something on the uniform.
They wouldn't let him.
And they wouldn't let him do it. Yeah. Now, so he dyed his dreads a certain color, like the pink color. But I'm like, now look at how far we've come. Like, now it's like, you know, and again, it's like I saw somebody today on Instagram, somebody I know, she posted something like, are all this political talk making you uncomfortable? And that's because of your privilege. And this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, I couldn't disagree with that more. There was a time in this country where we didn't talk about politics or religion. Those are two of the things that everybody gets heated. Those people get overly passionate about. And then that becomes your identity, as opposed to Danny or Tommy. Hey, there's Danny or Tommy. He's a good guy. It's my neighbor. You know, he's a hard worker, you know, or whatever. Now it's, oh, there goes fucking Danny, that fucking Trump guy, or
Well,
Tommy, that Trump guy.
Wait, here's the worst part. I understand that if you're out there every day shooting it down people's throat. But what happens is like someone just finds that out. Like, in other words, you didn't jam it down somebody's throat. Like somebody maybe asked you when you're, in conversation and you're like, yeah, well, I'm not really for abortion or something, which is not the case for me. But what happens is you go from being, everything else that you were to being the guy who is a Trump supporter.
Yeah. And it's just such a danger. Like I just saw a Hispanic guy that was shot and killed, or no, he was killed. I don't know if he was shot, but he was a gay Hispanic guy and he was a Trump supporter. So he was killed for wearing his MAGA hat. And then you have the 23-year-old girl who was shot and killed for saying all lives matter.
Well, go back to the first one. This is what is, there's nothing funny about a guy dying, but here's what is, it shows you like the craziness of the world.
The irony of it all.
It's like, what would you have thought would have been more of a struggle to be a supporter of a certain party or announce to the world that you were gay? And this guy was accepted for being Hispanic, accepted for being gay, but he put a MAGA hat on, and that was it. You're done.
That was the end game.
Yeah.
Like, and this is what kills me about a lot of these people that I see that just go off on social media about, if you're a Trump person, you're part of the problem. If you don't support Black Lives Matter, you're part of it. If you don't voice your opinion, you're part of the problem. You're painting everybody with such a broad brush.
Oh, wait.
You're actually part of the problem because you're glorifying, violence to an extent again, because, a lot of these same people, they mock Trump supporters. They mock.
Well, see, you can mock Trump supporters. That's the fucked up part. And what is mocking a Trump supporter? You're a big, fat, fucking sloppy redneck. I see pictures all the time of people that, are definitely of a lower class society. Some people may term them as white trash or whatever. Yeah. And it's like, but it's just a picture of people. You have no clue what their political affiliation is. What if I posted pictures of people that were, wearing, like urban youth and street clothes and made comments about them? Who fucking knows what political party they're affiliated with? That's racism.
Oh, yeah. Well, if I told you a Trump supporter got killed last night, you'd probably make the assumption that I was a white guy.
Yeah.
Not a fucking gay Hispanic guy. You'd be like, it's.
Well, but what's so funny about that is, like you were saying too, like people are like, if you're not speaking up, you're part of the problem. So in other words, if you don't speak up, you're part of the problem. But if you say something we don't like, now you're a target.
Yeah.
Like, well, what the hell?
No, now you're a bigger problem. Because now you're clearly identified as a racist, a homophobe, or any of those things.
Nobody wants you to speak up. It's like, you better kiss my ass.
Right.
And if you're not kissing my ass, then you're part of the problem.
Yeah, man. It's
Tom, just imagine right now, if you had any type of opposing view and you were growing up and you were in college at that fancy university that you went to, and you were on campus and you were trying to join somebody's fucking conversation in the cafeteria. And like, I know that I'm okay with my opinions now. And I'm pretty sure that I would have, the way I grew up and the way I would be okay with my opinions then. But I don't think I would have had as enjoyable of a life as I've had if I would have, had a difference of opinion in college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine like being at a party and people are like, "Hey, Tom, how do you feel about fucking defund the police?" If you don't, you gotta fucking think something real fast if you want to get laid.
Oh yeah, it's like the Montel Jordan record skips. Like, this is how we do, and then it's like, oh shit, did he really just say that shit?
Get that motherfucker out of here.
Yeah, like this motherfucker. And you're like, all right, I guess I'll go back to my dorm and be by myself because I've been excommunicated from the world.
Dude, when I had that thought one time, like really had that thought, I've got a pretty good group of like friends that understand, like they know my opinions on some things, but they don't fucking throw me under the bus. You know what I mean? Like, which is good. They probably do it when I'm not around, but we all got high and like smoked some weed and went out to this place up here called The Crown. And basically it's a place for like this new genre of music that I'd never heard. Like, in other words, it's kind of like there's a really fine arts school up here called MICA. You ever heard of it?
No.
Well, it's like liberal rich kids who go to this art school from all over the world. It's just as prestigious as Johns Hopkins University is for science and medicine. MICA is that same thing for art students. Like, you have to be like the best of the best to get in that school, and you probably have to be rich too, you know?
Yeah.
So I went in there one time, and this dude was playing the saxophone, right? But his new age music was, he hit all the notes that were like the ones that drive you crazy, like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the kind of scene we're talking about, like this music that is not music in the mainstream.
Yeah.
So I go and see this one rapper, and that's this guy everybody came for. It was a rapper that went on, and his song was like 10 minutes straight of just him saying, fuck Trump, and the whole place is going, fuck Trump. Yeah. And I'm standing there, and a few of my friends are around me, like, we're high as shit, and they're looking at me, and they're just laughing, like looking at me like, I know he's not enjoying this. But I'm laughing, you know, in a way too. I like enjoyed it. Like, I was okay with it. And that's when I stepped away, and I thought I could stand there and laugh at it all, right? But I'm looking at all these 22-year-old kids, and I'm looking at some dude like standing behind his girl, and I'm thinking, if you like Trump, you're a dead man right now. Like me, I could just go home and laugh and sit down and say, ha ha. But like, this dude's got to go back to his dorm room and listen to people all day. Like, oh my God, how amazing and profound was that rapper tonight? And that, like, think about that. Like, I know how you feel about music. Even if you didn't have a political view, you'd probably be like, yeah, fucking blue.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, now there's a lot of kids that are going to be like, oh my God, that guy was so dope. It's like, that wasn't,
Tom, they were like, fucking fuck Trump. Fuck. I'm looking around. I'm like, oh my God.
Like, that's not talent. That's just jumping on the bandwagon and taking advantage, like hijacking a situation, like, and just, you know.
But I won't lie. Like, here's what made me so mad was I enjoyed it. It was like, I didn't care what these other people felt, and I didn't look at the guy and go, I did think at some points I was like, oh man, but yo, this guy had other stuff going on too, and it was interesting, but like, they all came there because he was known for that song. You know what I mean? But I won't lie. Like, it was like really kind of funny for me to be in it. And I actually was sitting there going, like instead of looking at the guy and going, oh, how dare you? I was looking at the guy like, good for you, bro. Like, you're doing your thing. You're the wild man. You're jumping up and down. You're just saying that, you know, and you got this crazy following. But the thing that sucks is, like, I could never have sat there and had a conversation with any one of them people and say how I felt. Like, you know, meanwhile, people that support Trump are supposed to be these horrible people. And yet I'm standing in the midst of that belly, and I'm like, this is entertaining.
Well, yeah. And that's why, you know, you don't have a voice. That's why Instagram puts out what exactly do they call it? Is that a GIF?
It's a
GIF.
Generated image file.
Yeah, but is it called the short for? Did you say GIF? How do you pronounce that?
Here's the thing.
I'm really showing my age with this.
No. But this is why you're not showing your age. It's a GIF. Okay, is what it is.
Right.
Because it's a GIF, generated image file. But it now that it is what it is, it's a GIF to people. Like, they say GIF, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's more because it's just become its own word, and everybody that says it doesn't understand that it's a generated image file.
Well, because, you know, and what I was going to say is, and that's why Instagram puts out mute white people GIF, and then the internet goes a little bit crazy, and then they eventually deleted it. Yeah. But I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like that you can't fight hate with more hate.
Yeah,
you can't you can't. Well,
no. Wait, here's how much that people don't understand. You can't have it both ways. To segue from part of our other conversation. So, if you're not speaking up, then you're part of the problem. And then it's mute white people.
Yeah, like how does that work? Like and then going back to sports, and the big story a few days ago was DeSean Jackson and sharing a little, I guess it was like a post from a Hitler quote, which I don't really care who you are. I don't care where you stand. I don't really care what color, what gender. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Sharing a Hitler post just probably isn't a good idea.
Well, here's the thing, and I want to add, I mean, like, more about this than I do, but the other thing is, remember you said it turned out to not be true?
Oh, yeah, it was fake.
Well, here's what I think it means by fake. Hitler, like, I learned some cool shit about propaganda during World War II. Like, you remember how in Vietnam, which is not World War II, but in Vietnam, the Vietnamese used to send out, what are they, North Vietnamese or whatever? They would send out over the radio station and announce to all the black soldiers, like, why are you fighting? Like, that was their propaganda, like constantly telling them like that, like, you're from a country that doesn't like you, right?
Yeah.
So I think what that was it wasn't necessarily, well, it might not be true at all, but it was true that Hitler said it, but it was probably part of Hitler's propaganda. You get me? Like, I think that's something Hitler like pushed out, because he also did the same thing in England, constantly reminding the Irish that they shouldn't be fighting with the English, because the English were actually their oppressors. So basically Hitler saying, but what makes me laugh even is, why would you post something from Hitler if Hitler was killing Jews? And if Hitler hates Jews, then why would you want to be the real Jew in a statement from Hitler?
Well, because it said something, I don't remember the exact quote, but it had something to do with Black Americans, like, not being a part of America or whatever. And like the Jewish people, that's why they were using this propaganda to keep the American Negro down, whatever. I don't remember exactly, because he deleted it. Well, apparently it was fact checked and it was fake.
Yeah.
But it was, his thing was, well, I was just trying to uplift my people. But by uplifting your people, you shared something hateful and basically stepping on the necks of another group of people that was oppressed. And this is where all of this group thinking and these types of movements, that's eventually what they all become. It doesn't become, it's not about equality anymore. And even maybe to some people it is. I'm sure that there probably is a decent amount of people that are still believing in, we just want equality, but even that is a slippery slope, because we're like, well, what equality is it that you're looking for?
Well, here's the sad part. People this is what's so crazy, is that it's hard to even just talk about equality in a way that doesn't make, because the whole thing is that if you're fucking white and you're arguing about someone's push for equality, it's like you're scared to lose your
power.
But my thing is this: I don't care what the equality is. Okay. Like, if you want to take it away, like, in other words, if you don't want to talk about equality in the sense of race, but equality in the sense of anything, I'm for, but also equality is equality. Like, if anyone ever has to step aside because of the color of their skin and allow someone else the upper hand because of the color of their skin, that's not equality. Like, in other words, it's hard to argue against someone when they're saying something about someone who's considered their oppressor. But my thing is, the fucking Joe the plumber who's not a racist is not your oppressor.
Right.
And I understand that there definitely was, and there definitely probably is shit that goes on. But I mean, you can't fucking say, you know, that you're supposed to get something more than Joe the plumber if he doesn't feel that he's racist, and if he's worked for everything he's got, and then he has to like step aside of something or not be allowed to do something because the color of his skin, then that's the same shit that you don't want to have happen to yourself. You know, and I mean, it's such a fucking slippery slope, but the bottom line is I'm not arguing against what people should or shouldn't say, but what I am arguing against is like, at the end of the day, equality is equality, you know, but just the same as you want other people to not judge you for the color of your skin, you can't judge others for the color of theirs.
The problem that I really have with the idea of equality now is it's subjective. When Martin Luther King was fighting for equality, you know, it was fighting for, look, we need laws to be passed, you know, so black people can vote, so black people can eat at the same restaurants, get rid of the Jim Crow laws. I mean, there were certain laws that we didn't have. So the laws were different for what, you know, for white and black people.
Yeah.
Now there's no laws in place for anything. So what exactly is equality? Because nothing is equal in this world. Nothing. Yeah. Nothing is 100% equal in anything we talk about.
Well, here's the crazy part about equality. Equality would have to be that you would have to accept that like, in other words, if you looked into a room and you said, man, this is all Chinese people, you know what I mean? Or, because I don't want to say it's all white people, but okay, so you walk in a room and it's all white people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they all just got hired for something. Well, if we believe we're equal, then you would look at that room and say, oh, this is all the people that got here because they were hired, because they were the good people for the job. Well, when does it end? Because when we see like if you see a business that only has white people working there, well, what's the first thing you assume? They need to fucking fix their hiring process. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like in other words, if you, so in other words, equality would mean that at some point, everyone would have to accept that their situation, that wherever they are in life, whatever, you know, they're there because that's where they are, because we live in an equal world. But it's never going to happen, because if there's too many fat people on TV, skinny people are going to say this isn't fair. If there's too many skinny people, fat people say it isn't fair. If you make a Netflix special and your last 5 specials were all Hispanic people, then you're not representing the black people. You know what I mean? Like I just don't see where people are going to get to equality, which is a shame, because equality has to be in the mind of even the person being oppressed at one point. At some point, it has to go out the window.
Well, and then you even get into, by trying to make things equal, are they still then fair? Because okay, well, you made it equal, but maybe you hired a person of color or, you know, a minority to make things equal in terms of racial equality, but are they capable of doing the same job? Or are they capable of doing it the same, you know, the same level?
Yeah. Here goes just a thought. Maybe it's a bad thought, I don't know. But if the world was to feel that we were equal, right? Then when George Floyd was murdered by that cop, the people around would have to say that cop is a bad cop and he murdered that guy, and that needs to be rectified. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, in other words, at some point, when you get pulled over because the cop tells you, you know, I thought you were speeding, and maybe you weren't speeding, you know what I mean? But you have to say that cop is a dick and eliminate the fact that you got pulled over because you were white, black, Hispanic, red, yellow, green, whatever, you know?
Right.
And I just don't think that's ever going to happen.
No, well, this is what really kills me when I see all these people all day long talk about we need to fight racism. You can't fight something that you can't win. It's like the war on, well, no, let me rephrase that. You can fight something in hopes to win, but it's like trying to, you know, the war on drugs. People are always going to want to take drugs. You know what I mean? Like, so
Well,
I had this conversation with my neighbor the other day. He's a black guy, and he's always out there washing his car. And I'm walking the dog, and he's like, "Yo, what's going on, man?" And we both have black cars. And I was telling him, like, I'm like, dude, every time I buy a new car, I wind up getting black. And I'm like, I am not getting a black car. One, because it gets hot as shit in the summer. And two, because it shows everything, all the imperfections. It always looks dirty. So he's got a nice brand new Cadillac. He's waxing it down. And he's like, man, but there's nothing more beautiful when it's clean than black. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. Like, it looks dope as hell when it's nice and shiny, cleaned up. It looks great. So I start showing him I got a bunch of scratches all over my car. I don't know how the fuck he got on there. I think from a stupid car wash. I don't know. But so I'm like, I got to get this taken care of. I got to take it to the body shop. So we start talking about, just random shit. And we started talking about race. And he was telling, and he was talking about, as a black guy, he's like, I fear the police. And I can't understand that, because I'm not black. So I haven't lived his experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the problem for me, when I hear people say that, I'm like, but statistically speaking, that would be like me saying, I don't get into the ocean because I'm afraid of shark bites. Like, I'm afraid of getting attacked by a shark. Like,
let me
and like you live, like, and I don't want to make light of the situation. I'm just saying, statistically, that is so low on, like, of what you should be worried about in life. But, then he goes on to talk about, he's like, when I bought my first car, he's like, somebody poured sugar in the gas tank the next day. And he talked about, living in a black neighborhood, and how he's like, so it's like crabs in a bucket. And he's like, so, like, I have to worry about my own people as well.
Yeah.
Where psychologically, I'm looking at this guy, and he's not the first person to say this, but I'm like, it must be very difficult to have these types of fears. So, like, you fear the cops, you fear your own, you fear your neighborhood. Like, so it's almost like a PTSD, you know what I mean?
But let me ask you a question. Do you fear the police?
No.
See, this is why I have angst with this whole police thing, because it's not that I'm sticking up for the police, but I had so many instances, dude, when I was a kid, of getting pulled over. I remember one time actually getting pulled over, like, outside your house or something, like on your street, where they used to just pull me over all the time because I just didn't look old enough to drive a car. But at the same time, when they would pull me over, it was like they were enjoying the treatment of me. You know what I mean? Now, simultaneously, there were times where I enjoyed the fact that I definitely was given a slide by the cops, but they weren't always fucking white cops. Anyway, the main reason why I'm saying this is, still to this day, when I drive down the fucking street and a cop gets behind me, because I've been pulled over so many times for nothing, but was then given a fucking ticket for something. You know what I mean? Like, they pull you over. I ask why you pulled me over. They start to just ask me, like, how old I am. So that means they saw me. I look young. And then next thing you know, I'm fucking walking away with $700 worth of tickets because my fucking, I only had a copy of my registration and not the real registration. Or, like, it's like they just made something up to fucking give me a ticket of some kind. Yeah. But with that being said, I understand driving on the road. Like, every time I fucking drive on the road and see a cop, I shit my pants like I'm 10. And, I'm not going to sit here but see, so, like, for someone to say they fear getting killed, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? But then also the fact that if I have that fear of the cops, in other words, someone still won't allow me to say, like, I watch it on the news all the time. They're like, the white people don't know, like, as if we're all getting pulled over and they're like, go ahead, buddy, because you're a white guy. That shit don't happen. You know what I mean?
No, and here's the thing. It's not that I haven't been pulled over that often. I mean, I have a few times, and then I had a few interactions with cops when we were younger, with drinking and things like that. And even we drank. The first time I ever got stopped by the cops for drinking, I ran, got away. Another time I didn't run. They let me go. They just don't. They never really get the
Well,
fuck out of here.
they used to play that game with you and make you. Then they'd be like, "Well, because you didn't run, you could go." And then,
well, yeah, because then the second time I got caught running, and they were a little rough with me, not to the point where I'd be like, ready to riot or anything, but like, as a young kid, they were a little rough with me, and they were like, "That's what you get for running. Like, if you make us run, we're gonna be dicks."
Tom, here's a perfect fucking example and kind of an interesting story of my first time I ever got arrested. Dude, I was like 12, 13 years old, and my brother let me hang out with him and his friends, right? And we were down on like 60, 6th Street, like remember like that Geyer Avenue shit, like 66 and Geyer or something like that. Yeah. Everybody hung on different corners. So I'm hanging out, and my brother was with one of the like biggest dudes in the neighborhood, Eddie Mount. I don't know if you know him, but he was like at the time, he's a very tall, big guy, and there's like 100 kids on the corner. Okay. And the cop pulls up, puts the lights on everybody, and looks over, and I'm standing next to the biggest guy on the corner. And he says, "Hey, big guy, what the fuck you doing?" And Eddie Mount was like, "Me? You talking to me? I didn't do anything." And he goes, "No, not you." And then he shines the fucking light on me, like from the car. And he puts it on me, like, "You big guy, what the fuck you doing?" And I didn't do anything wrong, Yeah. And he goes, "Come here for a second." And he just I walked over to the car, and they just put me in the fucking car. They drove around with me for 3 hours while they arrested kids for drinking, all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Then they fucking drove into the projects and just dropped me off. Said, "Get out." You know what I mean? In like 57th Street. Just told me to get out. So I just got the fuck out and walked back. And, I wasn't really that afraid of where they dropped me off. But the whole thing is like that kind of shit. Like, I get it. I understand. But there's a weird thing to that. There's one hand where I'm like, what a dick. There's another hand where I'm like, they knew that they never saw me before. They never saw me before. They also saw that I was a young kid hanging out with all these fucking riffraff. So I'm not saying they did a good thing, but like, I think what they were trying to do was drive me around, show me how they treat all these fucking knuckleheads, and then let me out. You know what I mean? Like, you're not under arrest or whatever. And so, that story might not be horrible, but what I'm saying is my first interaction with police was, driving around for 3 hours, not knowing if I was getting fucking arrested or not. And also, I didn't go home and tell my fucking mom that shit.
Yeah.
Because my mom would have flipped out either way.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like people now, that mom would have a major lawsuit on her hands. And then what happens is that the next time the cop wants to assert any type of help somebody, that wasn't helping, but maybe they saw it as like doing something that made a difference in their own way. But the bottom line is now you just get arrested. Then the second time that they used to always fuck with me. And then one time they were fucking with me just like that. I'll never forget this shit, dude. It was a white cop and a black cop. I don't know if you remember them, but they used to walk the beat and everybody knew their names. I forget their names now.
I don't remember, but if it's the one black guy, he was the cool guy. He was actually cool.
Yeah, so they were always super cool, right?
The white dude was kind of a dick.
But what I mean is you could talk to them. They would we would talk to them. They would come out and they'd be walking the beat and we would talk to them. Well, one time they were literally just talking to me. I didn't do anything wrong, but I was like, let's just say I was loitering. I don't fucking know. Like I was like standing outside,
Yeah.
And they were like smelling my breath. Like maybe I was drinking. I can't remember, but I wasn't like drunk. Like I've seen these guys a million times. They start talking to me and a call came over the fucking radio for like a pursuit of someone with a gun. Like you heard it. They're like, we got to, you know, somebody running down an alleyway, hiding with a gun. They asked them guys if they could respond to it. And the dude fucking clicked his shoulder and was like, yeah, sorry, we have a suspect in custody. We can't go to the thing. And I'm thinking in my head, like, what? And then they arrested me. Like, another, so what I'm getting at is like, they clear as day arrested me just to not have to go to a real call. Yeah. So I mean, I understand that cops are very different, especially in neighborhoods where they can get away with it. But the thing is my only problem with all this shit is I'm not allowed to have an opinion because it doesn't happen to me. Right. It only happens to one kind of person. And here's the thing. And I don't have a problem with telling me that those people in certain neighborhoods get treated very differently. What I have a problem with is that the people that tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about are rich black people trying to tell me that they're scared of the police. Dude, again, going back to whatever, like my life ain't like somebody's in the projects, but your life out in fucking middle America suburbs and you're a fucking rich black guy, you know, I can highly say that you've probably never got arrested because the fucking police got a call for a bigger crime and they didn't, you know what I mean? Like you got pulled over 2 times and said, they did it because I was black, but that's it. You know what I mean? I've been fucking arrested for no reason and no one cared because you could just throw me into the wallop of he was one of the dirty fucking poor white kids that are always causing trouble. I'm a dirty poor white guy, Tom. That's my MO. That's my MO. Hey, it's dirty poor white guy.
That's what I identify as. Like just like some like a dirty mutt. Like
I'm gonna start writing that down when they ask your race. Dirty poor white guy.
Yeah. You know, I remember a time when we were young and I was up on Woodland Avenue and you know, we were trying to get somebody to grab his beer and we gave this guy our money and he's like, yeah, we'll go get it. And we're standing out there, we're waiting. And these two black ladies came up and they were like, oh, the fuck up, screaming at this dude. And we're like standing there like, well, you know, we're like 14, 15 years old. We're like, what the fuck is going on? So they went after this dude. They were like, they get our money because they were saying that he was trying to rob us. So we're like, oh, all right, well, thanks. So they're like, you come with us, sugar. Like, come on, walk with us. So we went from 62nd and Woodland to maybe like 57th, 56 in Woodland. And we're standing there on the corner and they're like, just wait right here. We'll be right back. We were waiting there for like a half an hour. So they beat us for the money.
Yeah.
And the cops rolled by us a couple times. So they kept staring at us like, and we're just sitting there like, nothing to see here, officer. Like,
yeah, just hanging out.
Yeah, couple of white kids, like, and you know, he pulls back over to the last time, and he's like, he pulls up, he's like, "Yo, the fuck are you doing here?" And we're like shitting our pants. We're like, So like, I was like, oh, we got lost. I was trying to say because I was dating a girl that lived in McCreesh at the time. I was like, oh, you know, my girl got into a fight with her parents and there was some drama going on in her house. So the cops actually took us in the car. It was like one guy. He's like, get in the car. So it was me and 2 other people to McCreesh, to where she lived. And I fucking showed up at her house and she's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And I was like, we got beat for beer money and I made this lie up. And now, so then it's like, you know, we snuck out that night. So it's like late at night. We're fucking walking home from McCreesh back to, I forget where, I think I was staying at like Nikki and Pete for Jilly's house, I think. You know, so when you say like, do you fear police? No, but that doesn't mean that I haven't come across, like I've had encounters with dickheads of cops.
Yeah.
But, you know, back to my original story about my neighbor, I mentioned the show, The Chi, to him, that I was watching it. And I asked him if he ever watched it. I said, it's a good show. So one of the little black kids in the show is saying like, he's supposed to go to therapy for, I forget if maybe his father died or something like that. And one of the girls was with him was like, are you still going to counseling, to therapy? And he's like, no, that's for white people. And as my neighbor was telling me about how he fears the police, how he fears people in his own community, and I was telling him about this moment in that show, and even Charlemagne the God, on the Breakfast Club, has spoken about therapy and how it's helped him. I don't really know exactly. I don't remember exactly why he goes to therapy, but he talks about how it's kind of like it's kind of looked down upon, especially in the African American community, like, And I was telling to this guy, and he was like, "That's just ignorant." And he's like, "Because we all need it." And I was like, "That's really true, man. It's really something that everybody should look into, especially when in hearing his story and hearing him tell me how, like, I fear in my own neighborhood, like I got to watch out for my own people. And then on top of that, I got to look out for the cops. And, there's certain things that I have kind of reflected upon, like ever since the George Floyd thing and everything that's been going on. I kind of have my stances, but then in talking to people and listening to sports radio, like when they're talking about DeSean and Malcolm Jenkins and Drew Brees and certain things, there are absolutely times where I kind of like take a step back and I'm like, maybe I am looking at this wrong. Maybe there's an element that I'm missing here. Maybe there is something that I'm not.
But see, I don't think that you're frustrated by the issue. I think this is the whole point. The issue changes into a different issue before the last issue has even been fucking settled every day. And I don't even know what the issue is anymore.
Right.
You don't even hear George Floyd as much as you like, dude, this is how ever changing the fucking world is. It's only been 3 weeks, maybe a month since this happened. Am I going? Yeah. Like May,
something like that.
So, but what I'm saying is, 2 weeks ago, I started thinking how you don't even hear it was George Floyd, and I understand you're not always going to hear his name. That's how quick everything becomes. Is there's been one new major issue that stemmed from that major issue, and now we're dealing with issues that's like, in other words, we're dealing with rioting, looting, and statues coming down, and we're so far removed now from what actually happened, and we were ready to have like a reform the police conversation, and now people that might have even been for reform the police don't even understand what the fucking policy is anymore, so they're checking out of the conversation.
Well, there's a lot of things that are really confusing, and when it comes to as a white man trying to have conversations, it's difficult because exactly like you just said, one issue isn't even resolved before we're on to another one. And it's not the same case. It's not the same situation.
Yeah.
And, I forget if we mentioned this the last time, but the Brianna Taylor case, everybody seems to be hung up on that. And this is all kind of connected to even like DeSean Jackson. Malcolm Jenkins released a statement and saying what DeSean said and did was wrong. And, the Jewish community has a right to mourn. But we have to move past this, and we need to focus on, the real issues at hand. Brianna Taylor's killers are still, out there. And there's multiple reasons I have issues with that, because it's very dismissive to the Jewish community. And it's like, it's kind of goes back to the, standing on the neck of, somebody else to make sure that your voices are heard.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a bad comparison in considering, George Floyd and all that. So
I'll just drink my soda.
Just drink that tea. So I apologize. Maybe I could have worded that a little bit differently, but so going back to that, and then he commented and he was like, there's a lot of issues and what the comments that were made were wrong, but Jewish people aren't our problem and we're not Jewish people's problem. And all of these things, again, like, anti-Semitism is real. It's an issue. And like, we can't overlook it. And then starting to listen to people talk. When this issue occurred, you started to hear people start talking about, now I have a little bit of better understanding of why people are saying all lives matter. Because there are a lot of situations that are happening to other people that you're just not hearing about.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
going back to the DeSean Jackson thing, here's what I really like. Let's take away the level of like when we talked about it a minute ago, we talked about like Hitler, and we talked about the meaning of what he said and how it may not have been true, and X, Y, and Z. But here's what pisses me off. This is actually the problem. DeSean Jackson, a great football player, right? Maybe debatable, but I'm just saying, let's just say for the sake of conversation, he's an amazing athlete, okay?
right.
He's posting shit that he don't know shit about, and people are fucking listening to it. And that's the problem, is he shouldn't be at that level of the conversation. Like, in other words, if he posts something out, people take it so to heart. If he was in a Spanish class and he posted that as some statement that was maybe in reference to what he was learning in school, the teacher would be allowed to say, DeSean, actually what you said doesn't have anything to do with anything. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who shouldn't be, like, for instance, maybe like as I'm saying this, I feel like that's us, right? Maybe we shouldn't be, but we're not fucking people we're just having a conversation about it. I'm not telling anybody how it is. I don't go on my fucking Facebook and post to somebody some dumbass shit you know what I mean? To like whatever. The bottom line is he should not be someone who like if you're like, he's not fucking, he has too much access or something, and then he voices his opinion, and that, like, that's not even an opinion, I guess, but he isn't educated enough on what he's posting. He just saw something and posted it out. But the difference is he has fucking millions of followers.
Well, and this goes back to earlier when I talked about how this girl I saw post, you need to speak up. If you're afraid of like talking about politics anymore, you need to. Well, no, you don't, because you have people like him that have 1.4 million followers, and obviously not all of them are going to agree and buy into what he says. But even if half of them did, half of them are now uneducated on a subject, and they think they know. They think they're woke now.
And here's the thing. They got the information from DeSean Jackson, okay? And this is the whole point. And for some reason, in the media now, no matter, like, think about this concept. If you posted that in a newspaper, you would have to write a statement saying it was wrong. Not wrong, like, because basically he had to say he's sorry that he hurt people's feelings. If you post that in a fucking newspaper, and this goes back to what I kind of was trying to say with him saying something in like a Spanish class or some shit.
Right.
If you provide information that is untrue in a publication, there's usually action taken against a reporter, and his level of credibility goes down. The newspaper's credibility goes down, and the newspaper posts not an apology, but a retractment, and says that it was false information. But because DeSean Jackson posted that on his Instagram, he is a reliable debate. There is half the people that seen that are walking around feeling like he's been unjustly fucking, attacked for his opinion, which is true, but it's not true. Because DeSean Jackson said it doesn't make it fucking true.
Well, and on top of the fact, people will view him as a black man, so he's a victim. So, like, there'll be people that are like, well, I can't speak on that. Like, I can't speak, and just because you can't speak on a subject, doesn't mean, like, if you're not a black man, doesn't mean that you can't have an opinion on the subject. It would be like if I had, I'm thinking of a good analogy here, but whatever. I'll skip that part until I think of something better.
Nobody likes white analogies anyway.
Yeah, like, who's this mansplainer? Like, I don't need this mansplanation from this white guy. And that's what's really frustrating, because he is who he is and he has that platform. There's going to be a lot of people that aren't influenced by what he says. And then you have other people that are agreeing with him, that are in a position of, the same stature.
Well,
and
here's what's sad. If you were a college professor, okay, and you went under his post and you decided to join the conversation. And so you went under there and said, this is a false statement. I'm a professor at Harvard College, right? People would attack you. Like,
Oh, yeah.
what? Like, so in other words, you don't want me in the conversation. The only way you could be in that conversation is if you say, I might not agree with what he posted, but I agree with his struggle and his whatever. And the thing is there's going to be people out there, black, white, whatever, that just don't agree. And the sad part is that they're not allowed to, like, in other words, if you don't want to hear what a Harvard professor says about his statement, then do you really want anyone in the conversation? And that's why personally, like, I mean, I'll have these kind of conversations, don't get me wrong, but all that shit I see on Facebook, there's just no reason to join the conversation. I know I can tell by the 217,000 comments underneath anything that nobody wants to hear what I have to say. So I just say, well, then this area isn't for me. It isn't worth my time to tell a bunch of people how I really feel inside. If I know that the way I feel inside isn't wrong, I just maybe want to have a conversation. They're not looking to have a conversation. I'll have a conversation with anybody, but I don't feel like putting something out there and then being attacked for it and then having it going back to what we said in the beginning of this conversation. I'm walking around outside and everything I've ever done is thrown out the window. And I'm the guy that disagreed with DeSean Jackson. Therefore, I'm a guy who stands for something and so on and so forth. And it's like, who wants to fucking do that to themselves?
Well, and another issue that I have with all of this, and we touched on it before, is that how they're all lumped in together, all these cases and everything when we talk about police brutality, because, and you know, I'm going back to it because I mentioned about Malcolm Jenkins saying Brianna Taylor's killers are still out there. Now, I can't tell you how many people I still see on Instagram talking about Brianna Taylor. Now, and I can't tell you how many of those posts are inaccurate. And all you have to do is Google it. And like you just said, you're like, how do I join the conversation? Like, I'm not going to jump into that conversation because it's a lose-lose conversation.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're not allowed to base your conversation on factual information that you know,
then there's no point.
There's no point.
I might as well just bang my head on the wall. Like, there's no point to it because if we really want to have a conversation, Brianna Taylor, what her name was on the warrant for when the cops showed up. Now, it was a no-knock warrant. The cops said they knocked. I don't really know that. I believe the boyfriend maybe said they didn't knock. She was not in her bed, which thousands of people that I see on Instagram are like, she was shot. You know, you talk about white privilege. Brianna Taylor was shot sleeping in her bed. That is completely false. She was in the hallway, and she was not. The cops didn't just walk in the house and start shooting. They were fired upon. One of the officers was shot, and then they returned fire. She was in the hallway, and her boyfriend that was there. So they were both on the warrant. This was not a mistaken identity case or anything like that. Now, if you really want to say that we need justice for that, I'm not saying that it's okay that she died. It's unfortunate. However, the boyfriend in the house shot at the cops. So that is not the same situation as somebody like Elijah McCain, I believe his last name is.
But not only is it the same, here's the thing, Tom, I feel like you could make people understand your point, but this is where shit gets thwarted. In people's minds, the level of criminality that she lived under is not enough to die. So in other words, like somebody might say to you, well, she didn't shoot at the police or she was whatever. And this is the problem. Police aren't every police officer isn't Captain America. And most in part, probably because of not enough funding. You know what I mean? And so I guess what I'm trying to say is I can guarantee you, I'll go out on a fucking limb, but I can guarantee you there's a couple of fucking white guys that have died that weren't necessarily the head boss of the fucking meth lab that they were working in or whatever else. But the thing is there's going to be cases that really are fucking like they're cases where it's unfortunate, cases where maybe that person, you know, if taken into custody under the right situation would not be considered the crime that they would be considered for would not be considered something worthy of like a death penalty or something like that. But the whole thing is, there is like, if you're fucking in a car full of fucking guys who just did a drive-by and the cops show up and one of those cops pull a gun on you, there's a possibility that whole car's getting lit the fuck up, you know?
Oh yeah. And here's the thing, which I have some, you know, super liberal friends, and I have gotten, after a few bottles of wine, we've gotten into some heated debates. One of the topics was police brutality.
That's where every good white conversation starts. A couple
bottles of wine, sitting in our white privileged suburbs,
cheese and crackers and shit. Some guy bringing it over to you.
Yeah,
tell us more about your thoughts on politics, Thomas.
Yes, because we all talk like fucking Mr. Rogers. So we're having this conversation, and this is a few years back actually. And the one friend, she got really upset, and she was like, there shouldn't be anybody, like cops shouldn't be killing anybody. And here's where I understand, she's a really good person and she has a great heart. She's a super person. So like, I understand that in her mind and in her heart, she believes in a world where that doesn't need to happen. I wish I lived in that world.
Yeah.
I really wish that was the case.
Yeah, but I could go outside and probably any time of the day, and I'll point out a couple people that need to be killed.
I mean, and listen, it's not making, you know, light of it. I'm not saying that my life's more important than anybody else's or anything like that. But we have to recognize that in a country of 330 million people, there is going to be altercations with cops that, whether you're gay, straight, Christian, Muslim, black, white, whatever, some people are going to die, and sometimes it's going to be the cop's fault. Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's going to be justified. So it's like when you have there was a black guy on CNN going off after George Floyd, or maybe it was after the guy in Atlanta, and he was like, if one more guy's out, if we see one more case of police brutality, like it's going to be total chaos. Well, he's giving the world an ultimatum.
Yeah.
As if we live in this perfect system. It's not possible. Well, so if you live by that standard, you're going to be let down.
Well, here goes.
And I just want to, I don't mean to cut you off, but
no, you're good. Go ahead.
I just saw another video, and I don't remember where it was, but a cop was kneeling on a guy's neck. And
I've seen that too.
And it just happened a day or two ago. So it's under review. And the guy didn't die. So again, now obviously I don't think it was for 8 minutes or however long, but this goes back to even cases like, I believe it was Eric Garner, right? When he was saying, I can't breathe. And it turns out that he had a ton of underlying medical conditions, which probably, you know, accelerated everything, and which is the reason why he died. Not necessarily because he was choked out. Now, of course, it's because of the police, and maybe they use excessive force. Yes, possibly. And this is where things get subjective, because not everybody that goes through that scenario dies. So then is it then police brutality? Because we're expecting cops to know your medical history when they arrive on the scene.
Yeah.
Well, this guy can't breathe. This guy has a heart condition. Maybe I shouldn't approach him this way. So we're living by standards that just by human nature, like it's just impossible.
Yeah. But in a way to compare it, it's like the CDC guidelines for opening up schools. It's it sounds stupid maybe to start off this way, but it is an example. It's like, if we impose the CDC guidelines on schools, then we might as well just not open up schools. So therefore, I guess what I'm saying is, if cops are supposed to be well educated, well, I mean, I want them to be well educated. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Of course. But I'm saying, if they're supposed to be psychiatrists / police officers, first off, then you can't pay them what you pay them, first off. But and I think any police officer that's educated enough to be a psychiatrist would probably just rather be a fucking psychiatrist. But anyway, if you expect a police officer to go into every situation and in a fucking moment understand someone's medical condition, their emotional fucking state, and their psychiatric fucking background, and then also only use any type of protection on themselves. Like, in other words, like if you walk up to somebody, you got to assess them completely. Then if they grab your gun, you have to assess how dangerous it is. Like, the bottom line is, and I think you told me this, if a police officer has to touch their gun for any reason, then their job is to shoot to kill. If you have to touch your gun, it's me or them. And then people would argue that people like they shouldn't have shot this guy. They shouldn't whatever. Well, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, in my mind, I look at it like, if you put the police in a position where they have to fucking debate going for their gun, you already fucked up.
Yeah, and even, you know, back to that argument that I was having with my friend, and how she was like, well, they need better training. And while I agree, like I'm all for giving police the proper amount of training, like best top-notch training that we can give them. But the argument is that, and there's a video that you can watch, there's a Black Lives Matter, like one of like a leading protester guy, I don't know. It's a video, he was on CNN, and he went through a police training scenarios, several different scenarios. Did you ever see it?
No.
I'll have to send you the video. So they bring him to the force, they take him through several different scenarios, and he has to handle the situation the way he deems is proper. He gets killed in every scenario. So at the end of the video, and anybody can look this up, Black Lives, just Google Black Lives Matter, CNN guy, police training, whatever. He said at the end of the video, he's like, well, you know, I don't know. I guess maybe I underestimated maybe how some things can turn out.
Oh, please send me
this. Because you know, I know cops that go to a simple, you know, they get a call to a house, and, you know, it's for domestic abuse. And then suddenly the wife that called because her husband was beating her ass, she whips out scissors and tries to attack the cops.
Yeah. Who
called in there to begin with.
Well, there was a case up here just the other day, which ended where the guy didn't get killed, but I'll have to find the video as well, but there's basically two Baltimore cops walk into a house, and a guy who they knew was mentally unstable was waving around a gun at them, and they're like, don't point at us, don't point at us. And then at some point they shot the guy, but disabling shot him. Like, they didn't kill him, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But like, I'm thinking in my head, like, they gave him more time. Like, I'm sorry, if I show up as a cop and someone's mentally unstable and they're waving a gun around, well, guess what? If you're a cop, you're not a fucking superhero. If you show up and someone isn't responding to like, I just feel like they gave the guy too much time, and he's lucky to be alive. But the sad part is if they would have killed him, we'd be looking at something else. And I think that those cops who gave that man as much time as they did while he was standing within fucking feet of them, waving the gun around, like, I'm sorry, but, like, you know, people don't deserve that type of, if my job is to show up and tell somebody that you can't have a gun, it's like, is he wrong for having the gun? Maybe. Somebody could argue, well, just having a gun, you know, doesn't mean you deserve to die. Well, you know what? There's some cases where we pay people to put their lives in danger, but, you know, we can't go around having mentally ill people killing cops one by one because everybody's trying to make sure. It's not always about everyone. Those police have fucking lives too. You know what I mean? Like, they really do.
Absolutely. And the counter argument a lot of times are people that are like, well, the cops signed up for this. Well, the cops signed up to protect and serve. They didn't sign up to get killed. I mean, they know that that's a risk.
Well, who wants to be a cop right now?
Right, exactly. I mean, they know that's a risk. So yes, they do sign up for it. However, if you show up to a situation and you think your life's in danger, you have to handle the situation first. It's no different than it's no different than a normal interaction that you and I would have if somebody breaks into your house. You know, you have to protect you. You don't know what they're going to do. But this is what's funny, because I actually, this is one of the reasons why I got off Facebook a couple years ago, because, you know, a guy I know from the theater, super liberal guy, nice guy, got along fine, no problems. Like, and we started talking, it got into a debate about guns. I don't remember the exact debate, but the argument was, he was trying to say that if someone breaks into your house, there's no need to shoot them because they're probably only there to rob your TV. And I'm like, how can you make that assumption? Like what in your head, like what part of you thinks you know what a criminal is thinking? Now, and he's like, and he tried to go down this hole of, well, he's breaking in because he's probably on drugs, and, you know, they probably just need drug money. They're probably not there to hurt you. That could be the case. I'm not denying that could be the case. But if I have a family, even if I'm just by myself like I am now, I'm not taking the chance. If I wake up and there's a strange person in my house, you're damn right. Like, I'm gonna defend myself. Like, I don't, now listen, I don't know how I would react, but I do own guns, so I would go to grab my gun and to because I don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. What if the guy is mentally ill and isn't aware and just came in to kill me? You have no idea. These things happen too.
Well, here's what I would say in that argument. See, people look at it like, for that guy to look at it like, and this goes back to the thing about even equality, let's say, right? You're climbing in my door, okay? I'm a fucking law-abiding citizen, okay? And you're climbing in my window. Now, some people might look at it like, well, most times that they only are coming in to take something, or most times they're just high and you don't need to shoot them and kill them. But you know what? My life is just as important as everyone else's life, okay? And I don't have to give this guy the 60% chance that he might just be robbing me. But here's the thing where I'll really flip it. By him deciding to break into my house, I didn't put myself in this risk game. You know what I mean?
Right.
The chances of you coming into someone's house and being murdered for trespassing are the things that are on your fucking side of the table. You know what I mean? You fucking spun the roulette wheel, not me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so I don't have to stand back. At that point, you are a guy coming into, like, I don't want to know what you're there for. You know what I mean?
Right.
And dude, I used to think, like, I don't know what I would do. And then as I got older, I'm like, you try and come in this house and well, here's the fucked up part. The only reason why I say it is not because I'm prepared to defend myself, but if you start climbing in my window and I'm watching you climb in my window, dude, I don't care what I got to do. If I got to fucking stab you in the face, you know what I mean? Whatever I got to do, it's getting done. I'm not asking you what your intentions are.
Right. I'm not taking the risk of just sitting back and letting you step in the house and say, hey, I'm just here to take your TV, bro.
Well, here's what I say in those situations. And it's the same thing like what I feel a cop might be in too. It's like, all right, if 1 out of 10 times the guy actually ties up the homeowner and chops his head off and whatever else, well, guess what, dude? I don't want to be that 1 out of 10 times. So
exactly.
I'm not fucking the one taking the risk. You are by fucking climbing in my window.
And then what happens in this scenario if it's a woman and it's a man that's coming in? I mean,
well, if she's coming in to rape me, please help me.
Well, yeah. If Carmen Electra's climbing in my window, it might be a little bit different. I might be like, hey, I don't know what's going on here, but you're more than welcome to stay.
The hand ties are in the top drawer.
Yeah. I don't know. I might even ask, are you wearing a mask, ma'am?
Yeah, there you go. You're climbing in my window, but you died because you didn't have a mask on.
Yeah. So yeah, man. And you know, even to kind of go off of that whole conversation, that couple that was defending their house
are fucking getting in trouble.
Had their guns confiscated, and they're getting in trouble by I forget if she's a district attorney. I don't know what she is, but apparently she let 60 looters and rioters go free with no charges. Now these people, and this is what I don't understand. Now you want to defund the police, so you want to abolish police. Well, how else are people supposed to defend themselves in any of these situations?
It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's like we're just supposed to believe this narrative that everybody's peaceful, like, and everybody's just there to protest peacefully. And
well, here's the thing that I think is fucked up too about those people. Here's what goes on right now politically. The person prosecuting them knows they'll never win. They know they'll never win. But this goes back to the DeSean Jackson stuff where it's like, it doesn't matter what's true. It's just the whole scenario becomes a thing, right?
It fits the narrative.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I will try and defend those people in conversation, and I will be right that they're homeowners, their gate was fucking tumbled through, and people made a move onto their house, okay? I will be right, but all people will remember is that, oh, yeah, well, if you're so right, why did their fucking house get fucking seized under a warrant and all their guns confiscated? It won't matter that they get away. It won't matter that the judge rules in their favor. Just the mere, because here's what makes me laugh. We have this fucking belief now in our political system. That's what makes me laugh. Before, we didn't trust our political system, right? But now we pick and choose when we trust it. So you don't trust the political system if I tell you that Trump was proven innocent on something. Oh, that's because it's all bullshit. But then when I try and tell you that this woman was able to prosecute these people to fit a political narrative in which she knew she was going to lose, the people that I'm arguing with will tell me that's insane because they would have never been able to do that to those people in the first place. And that's the fucked up part is, yes, they can. Yes, they fucking can. Everyone involved in this case knows that those people did nothing wrong. Nothing wrong at all. But the mere fact that you because see, people then go, well, what, like, well, they wouldn't be able to do that. Dude, I'm telling you, that's what's starting to scare me about this world is there's certain ways to just make someone look wrong, whether it be a lawsuit, like, you know what I mean? Like, in other words, because people think in their head, if that guy was innocent, then he would have never been able to have these things done to him. And that's not true. If people want to fucking do them to you, they will.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing with that is really disturbing because one, I don't know if it was maybe you that showed me the picture of their gate that was tore down. And that isn't something that I even knew at first. Like, I just saw the images of them on their front lawn or out front of the house, whatever. And I thought it was just like a residential street that they were walking down. But they had to break down that gate to get onto their private property.
Yeah. And basically it was like basically what they were doing was they were on a residential street in a sense, but they basically made a move on, like, it was like their first, I don't know if they did it anywhere else, but it was basically like that house became a target because it was like, look at this fucking mansion. Let's move on this mansion to make a statement against the rich people.
Right.
And they didn't know that motherfucking pink polo boy and the fucking and zebra shirt were ready to party.
Yeah, but it's really disturbing because now you're telling people they can't defend them. Like it's not like they shot at anybody. They just were protecting their house to say, get the fuck away from our house.
Yeah.
Now, I just saw an article that was posted that apparently this was literally something that it was like whatever that couple, whatever their name, apparently they made some kids cry because they swatted away their beehive. That was an actual article. And I just roll and I'm like, it's the same thing about that. It's like, is this really what's going on? I mean, are these really the articles that we need to be publishing? Like, to just kind of paint these people as evil demons because they made some kids cry.
Well, dude, here's what I was thinking. But again, going back to equality, like, and then here's what I'll say. If you want equality, start in the fucking media. And for example, what I mean is rather than, you know what? I got an idea. From now on, every single story of a police shooting needs to get one full day on every fucking media. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe that's an exaggeration, but what I mean is, for example, no more picking and choosing stories then. Put every single time something happens, and I wonder what it would be like. Every day you'd be watching a story about a white guy getting killed, white guy getting killed, white guy getting killed, Hispanic guy getting killed. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe every day it's a black guy getting killed. Put it all out there. Let's put it all out there. Give everybody equal time in the media. Like, I was thinking about something today that was really fucked up is that little girl that got shot in the projects.
Which one? There was multiple.
Any one of them.
Recently, there's been multiple.
Well, this is what I mean. Any one of them, okay? I feel that I remember the sound of movements like Black Lives Matter before used to say things like, if that was a white kid and it happened in a white, rich neighborhood, it would be an outrage. But yet simultaneously, you are supporting the fact that they aren't reporting. Like, in other words, some poor black 1-year-old girl was shot in the projects, and the same people who demand that, you know, the same outrage as we would get from white communities if it was a 1-year-old white girl have no problem with pushing these stories under when people want to put them in the media. You know what I mean? Like if you're calling for the same kind of outrage, because I do agree that if a 1-year-old girl was shot randomly in a white neighborhood, it would be mainstream media news. But right now we have a thing where that doesn't fit the narrative, even of the people who usually call for such type of attention. And they're the ones pushing it under the rug. The people that think that she should get that kind of attention. I don't understand it.
Yeah, because all the attention is only going to a white cop killing a black person. So that's the only headline you're getting. And not even just that, because even when you go on Yahoo News and you just scroll down the homepage, the only time race is ever mentioned is when it's a white guy, white woman does something against a minority. That's it. Because any of the other news stories, like there'll be some, it'll just say man attacks woman. But there's no, I'm like, wait, why is this narrative? Why is it necessary to push the narrative to say white man shoots black woman, or white man yells at subway at black kid, but then you'll see a video of a black guy beating up an elderly white guy in a retirement home, and it just says man assaults retiree.
Well, here goes something.
What's the point of that? That doesn't do anything for I can't even wrap my head around it.
When you made me go down the DeSean Jackson rabbit hole, right before we started, there's the Steven Jackson.
Oh yeah, he's a former NBA guy.
Yeah, but you see that he's in trouble, not in trouble, but he's been basically unapologetically defending DeSean. Like, even after DeSean apologized, he's defending him, right? So I watched a little bit of the one video, and he basically was saying, you're telling him to take it down. You're telling him to take that down. And he goes, everybody that knows me knows I love all people. He's like, now you're telling him to take that down. And I disagree with it, because you ain't telling the white people to take it down for all the shit they're saying to us. And he's going on about like all the shit they're saying to us. And then you're telling him to take, and I'm thinking in my head, hey man, I don't know what fucking world you live in, but ain't nobody telling white people it's okay to say shit and post shit online about anything. I haven't seen these videos.
They're fucking losing their jobs. They're fucking getting
I'm
like, what are we talking about?
I'm thinking in my head, like, what have these people got to lose? Like, in other words, like, if I came out and kept making videos against DeSean Jackson, I can guarantee you that just my adamantly, like, if I was pissed off and I really took it personal, if I was Jewish or something, I can guarantee you that my fucking videos would still get more attack than the initial video of DeSean Jackson attacking me and my people.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I don't want to really go back too much on DeSean, but I will say another element to why it became a little bit of a bigger issue is because shortly after he posted it, he deleted it, and I think he made an apology. Now my timeline on this may be a little bit off, but after he deleted it, there was some doctor, a black guy, Dr. Usman something. I don't know exactly what he's the doctor of. I don't know anything. But he posted a picture of DeSean saying that essentially he agreed with him and that they want, kind of along the lines of what DeSean Jackson was saying, you know, they want apologies from us when they haven't apologized for what they've done to us. And he said, so I pray for the day where a black man doesn't have to apologize for his words, which a black man's words can be just as harmful as a white man's, an Asian woman's. It doesn't matter. Like, so again, I'm like, so we're giving a pass to black men for what they decide to say. Like, they could be just as ignorant,
dude. And here goes the thing though, that where you may disagree with me, but here's the thing where I do kind of feel for the DeSean Jackson part of the thing. Okay. It has nothing to do with, like, I'm saying I'm not saying he was okay to do it, but when I read what it said, I think that he didn't understand this. This is kind of the whole point of why I'm saying that people shouldn't get behind these people. They shouldn't be looked at as whatever, but I'll just say a mistake that I think any one of us can make was made by DeSean Jackson. And if you read that statement, what I took from it was that he didn't realize that the underlying sentiment of what it meant, but basically what it was saying was that black people were the real Jews, right? Which I guess is the part that offended Jews, right?
Right.
But I really think that he wasn't taking the whole thing into consideration, because it was the next paragraph that then said that white people might not treat black people as bad if they understood that they were the real Jews, right? Like, almost saying, like, in a weird roundabout way, it was almost saying, like, we're not inferior like you thought we were, years ago, whatever. We are actually, the statement might be trying to say in its own way superior, but I think what he saw in that was like, yeah, well, if you knew that we were really the real original Jew, you would see us more as equal. Now, I think the real controversy isn't necessarily like, in other words, I didn't find there's a hate in there, I guess, for Jews that I don't understand, and it offended them, and I get it. But I really honestly think that DeSean Jackson just did what anybody could do, and he saw something, it meant something to him, and he posted it out. The problem is that there's this outrage that it brings about, and the difference is we need to understand, like, even if you're a fucking black person that really supports Black Lives Matter, you need to take a look at what somebody posts and check the fucking source and understand that DeSean Jackson is just an athlete. Now, should he have posted it? That I don't believe he should have posted it, because personally, if I'm afraid to fucking get involved in conversations that I don't know anything about just because I'm a low-level fucking worker, then I think if you're at the top echelon of being an athlete and you have people underneath of you that really consider what you're saying, then yeah, you need to double think what you're saying. But because I don't look at him as a super intellectual, I could understand the mistake. And I don't really find it to be something where he's racist upon Jews anyway. But the thing is everybody can't just throw their 2 cents in the fucking hat.
And I'll take this one step a little bit beyond that. So when Trump said at his rally, the last one, the Kung flu, I think I understand how people can take that as being racist and being insensitive. The way I took it, I think he's trying to be cute for his fan base. I think he's trying to be funny. When DeSean Jackson says that, I think he's trying to fit in with the whole Black Lives Matter. Because he's a black man, he probably feels as though he needs to say something and stand out and speak his mind. In the same way when Joe Biden says, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. I don't think that he meant that necessarily to the extent that people took it. I think he was on a black show. I think he's definitely trying to pander. No different than when Hillary Clinton was on the breakfast show and like, I carry hot sauce in my pocketbook. Like, so
see, to me, that's racist. To me, that's so racist.
Here's the thing. I think people get caught up in moments. They want to just, kind of be funny, be cute, just, I don't really know how to word it other than I don't think that there's really, really bad intent behind what they do and say at those moments. I think they're just jumping on that train, trying to be cool, trying to be trendy, and just kind of fit in. You know what I'm saying? But my biggest issue is, and this is something that we've also talked about with cancel culture, I think that it's really important for people to recognize how easy it is for people to say stupid things, but that doesn't make them mean people. And this goes back to the gay guy that was beat and killed for wearing a MAGA hat, the woman that was shot and killed for saying all lives matter. When you're online and you think you're doing your little social justice shit and think you're changing the world because you're like, fuck Trump, he's a fucking racist, this, that, and the other, and his supporters are trash, and you're part of the problem, you're creating hate as well. Maybe Trump is, but you are too. You're putting people's lives in danger as well by those words. When you're saying when you're screaming Black Lives Matter and white people can't speak about it, you can't say all lives matter, you can't do this, you can't say that, you're part of the problem, your silence is violence, you're condoning hate.
Well, so to say Trump supporters are racist, like, I'm sure that, like, the fact that that's like accepted is disgusting.
Well, of course it is.
And here's my question to you real fast. Something I never thought about, but just think about it. What if Trump said, you ain't black if you don't vote for me? What if he said anything? What if he said, you ain't white if you don't vote for me?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Well, no, I agree. And back to DeSean, my initial reaction was, first of all, let me just make this abundantly clear. I'm not a fan of DeSean Jackson, the football player. I understand that he's good. I was never a huge DeSean guy. I actually met him before. He came to a park to talk to some kids, and I was like, yo, what's up, man? Good luck against Dallas this week. Completely ignored me.
Really?
And it's not like he was literally like a foot away from me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, and it wasn't like this big crowd of people where he didn't hear. Look, I'm not some guy like, well, he didn't fucking respond to me. I get it. He probably has millions of people saying that shit to him. He's probably got people bombarding him with autographs. But there is a level of humanity and common courtesy, like in that, especially in a smaller setting, where you can acknowledge somebody. But regardless, years ago when he was cut, or not cut, but traded, and the idea was that he was racist. Chip Kelly was a racist because he got rid of him and LaShawn McCoy. Strangely enough, those two players that they were saying, Chip Kelly was a racist for getting rid of them, they're the two players that always seem to get in the most fucking trouble.
Yeah.
And always, like, because LaShawn McCoy's had a bunch of off the field issues. So again, instead of going straight to race, I mean, we need to really look at it, personal accountability. But my initial reaction with that was, fuck him. He's a fucking douchebag. Get rid of him. Because of, especially with the Riley Cooper thing, they didn't get rid of, I don't know if you remember Riley Cooper.
Yeah, I do. Yes, yeah. I do remember.
So
thanks a lot, Riley Cooper, you fucking asshole.
So, yeah, he didn't get cut. There were some different circumstances as far as we lost our best receiver at the time to injury for the whole season. So, which was another reason why they were probably like, fuck, we can't really get rid of this guy.
Yeah.
And Michael Vick spoke up for him and took his back and said, we need to he apologized. It is what it is. Deion Sanders was somebody that came up on ESPN and was like, listen, if anybody is going to sit here and tell me, even black people, that we haven't said racist things in our homes, like, you're lying.
Dude, I would love to check Riley Cooper's fucking Twitter out or his Instagram. What's he saying?
Yeah, what's his take on it? Maybe you think we can get him on layman's terms?
I wouldn't want him.
No, I know. I'm joking. Before we really fucking get taken,
Yeah.
We were like, this fucking white supremacist podcast. Jesus. But my initial thing was cut them. If that's the world we live in now, cut them. If people are losing their jobs it was like a day or two later where I started thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't want to be like the rest of these quote unquote liberal, open-minded people that are calling for all these cancellations for people for the smallest things, for things they did years ago, for a stupid comment made on Twitter. I just saw something about a 12-year-old was arrested for making a racist comment to some athlete or whatever. I'm like, the dude's fucking 12. It's a 12-year-old kid.
Arrest his parents.
But so I had to change, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want them to cut him. If he has to go through the same thing like Riley Cooper, they went through some like sensitivity training programs, whatever. Julian Edelman is a Jewish receiver that reached out to him and was like, look, I'll come to, an African-American museum, and you come and check out a Holocaust museum. Those things are great. Like, I'm like, I don't necessarily know. Look, it's great for public relations. I don't necessarily know that's going to change someone's mind or opinion.
But dude, I'm glad you brought this up, because I was having this thought before we did this, and I guess I lost the thought, but you brought it back. And what it is, dude, don't cancel. Do you really like, in other words, look at like Jimmy Fallon, okay? Like, first off, I don't think he's racist. I don't care for him, but I don't think he's racist, okay?
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, wouldn't you rather, like, in other words, I'll let people say whatever they want to say, right? And then let the fucking world sort them out. Like, if you want to go on and say shit about fucking Jews or whatever, that's fine. And then if you want to keep that player on your team because he said that, that's fine. But there will, like, in other words, like, these people, this is the problem. The people that call for the backlash, in other words, just don't watch Jimmy Kimmel anymore. And the weird part is like, Jimmy Kimmel left for 3 months. He's going to come back, right? Does that change your mind on what you thought before? Or are you just like enjoying the punishment? Like, in other words, like, oh yeah, let's make him fucking bag, and then he's okay to come back on. And now he'll think before he says anything. The bottom line is, if you're racist and you want to fucking say some dumbass shit in your Twitter, that's fine. I got news for you. I don't support racism. If somebody's talking about, if I turn on a podcast and they're talking about shit and I'm like, they're racist people, they can have their podcast. I'm done listening. I don't understand what the fear is. Is the fear that there's people listening that don't understand that they're racist? I don't understand it. And if there are people that are drawn to that, well, good. Now I know who you are, where you stand, or whatever. But my thing is that, like, we're deciding what is racist, what isn't racist, what we like, what we don't like, what we can eat, what we can't eat. Like, if you don't like Goya foods for what he said, don't eat Goya foods. Don't make people, like, in other words, like, there's white women in the suburbs right now, like, oh, I guess I can't eat Goya beans anymore or some shit, And the thing is if you don't agree with Goya, then don't buy fucking Goya. It's as simple as that. But don't force it. Don't make supermarkets start to think, well, I can't. The whole thing is, let everyone do whatever they want, and then we know where everybody stands. Do you really want people in entertainment that are, like, if Jimmy Kimmel's racist, then he shouldn't be where he is. And if he's going to come back to his show and just do his show and then apologize and everything's okay, my thing is, I would say that there's people out there that don't agree with Jimmy Kimmel's thing being racist, and there's people out there that think it was racist. If you think it was racist, you heard it, someone brought it to your attention, stop watching them.
Well, but I completely agree with what you're saying, but the mob and the frenzy is making it so impossible for anybody to not be racist.
Well,
like in other words, Jimmy Kimmel could be replaced by Danny Bender, and then they find out, that Danny Bender has a
hey
cabinet,
guys,
has a cabinet full of Goya beans.
Yeah.
And you're a fucking racist.
Yeah.
Because you support Goya. So you got to go.
Dude, I was just thinking right now, like, what if somebody like still like there's probably people out there that are like, I just made pancakes and the only syrup I have is the Aunt Jemima that I have left in my fucking fridge. You know, like think about that though. Like the pancakes.
I just imagine like a couple like white liberals like sitting at the like and seeing like somebody putting like some adobe fucking seasoning on their salad or something, and they're like, are they really putting adobe on their fucking chicken on their grilled chicken salad?
But this is the thing, there's somebody who might not even pay attention to politics. And this is what I'm saying. Like the guy's over there sprinkling fucking adobe fucking sauce on his shit. And they're like, our Goya, a Goya sauce. But even going a different way, you made me think of something.
We should be getting a round of applause for seasoning our shit.
Yeah.
Not canceling because of it.
Yeah, that's actually funny. You should be more excited to find out that white people were seasoning their shit.
Yeah.
But dude, you just made me think of something really, I think it's funny, but you go to like some fucking like rich white party, like fucking, it's like rich people out in the real racist, those real fucking deep rooted racist motherfuckers with
the get out families.
And you go over and you're having breakfast like 5 years from now, and they go into like their little safe and they pull out their Aunt Jemima fucking, they stocked up on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, this is the 2020 year, whatever. But dude, here's the thing, when you said like the mob calls for it, and this is kind of what I'm saying that's kind of fucked up, is Goya didn't do anything wrong. They said thank you to the president for having him there, and also supported some of the policies that made it possible for them to maybe grow their business or something. Now, the way I explain this to anyone is like this: going to the White House is just like going into a store and the guy in front of you holds the door for you. Okay. You may not agree with everything in that guy's life. You may not, whatever, but there are certain things we just do in society that are respectful things. So you turn around and you say, if the guy holds the door for you, you say, thank you. If you go to the White House, you thank you for inviting me. I may not agree with every one of your policies, but thank you for inviting me. And I'm sure when teams went to the White House in the past, they didn't always agree with, say, George Bush. You went to the White House because it's one of the best things I ever heard was at George Bush's, the address that they do to whatever that's called, the speech that they give, the address the nation once a year. Okay.
State of the Union.
State of the Union. The news was covering it, and they were all wondering how people were going to react to him walking in. And the whole place got up and roared with applause when he came in. And they asked all these Democratic politicians afterwards why they did that. And they said, it's just simply respect for the position. We don't agree with him. We don't like him, but he's the president. And so you respect that position. That doesn't mean you have to do everything they say, but this goes back to what I mean about like holding the door open or something. Like the dude from Goya basically turned around and thanked the president for hearing them out, for giving them a seat at the table, and for inviting them to the White House. You do that with your enemies. Like if your enemy says, hey man, let's talk, and invites you to sit at his table and talk, even if you walk away and disagree, you say, hey man, I don't agree with you, but thank you very much for letting me have a seat at the table. And with that being said, what I think is gross is the mob might call for it, but even if like people don't agree with it, the decision gets made. Like, dude, I don't give a fuck if I go in the store tomorrow and they don't have Goya beans. They have some other type of fucking beans. I don't care. Okay. But the problem is leave it in there. Let me choose. And the thing that I don't like is this decision isn't getting made by the full on mob. It's getting made where it looks bad in the media. And so the guy that makes the decision to drop Goya foods from his supermarket chain is one man, one CEO who is definitely probably the problem. He's probably super rich, probably white, probably whatever. He doesn't make the decision based upon race or how he feels. He makes the decision based upon how it'll look in the public eye. And what I don't like is that there's certain shit being done to TV and fucking food and whatever else that's being made by one guy somewhere. And he's eliminating my right to choose. Like even going back to Google and Facebook, it's like these people are making decisions on what I can and can't see. I want to see it all. I want to see what this dickhead's posting. Yeah. I want, and I might change my mind on how I feel if I'm watching Jimmy Kimmel every day and I'm seeing that he's posting weird shit online. I would rather let him post and then let me make my decision on how I feel about Jimmy Kimmel. Like, I don't understand what the fear is. It's like they're creating a fear. Like, in other words, we can't make that decision for ourselves. Pretty sure I've probably made decisions in my life based upon like whether I really wanted to support something or not. But now you're telling me that everybody has to hide their true feelings and worry about the bottom line. And you're going to take those choices away from me, the individual.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's super insane that people, the kind of climate, the way that we're going as far as when it comes to speech and limitations on certain voices and on certain platforms, especially when it comes to social media outlets. But I don't know, man.
We don't read the books.
I don't read the books. I watch the movies. I watch the YouTube videos. I don't read the books.
Yeah.
But as far as it's weird how even the cancel culture works, because it's weird how it doesn't work on everybody.
Yeah. Well, GOYA, this is what I was saying about how people like Joe the plumber is now getting pissed off. And I'm so glad to see this. That whole cancel GOYA thing apparently backfired. I feel that the people used to just take it. Like I said, like, I guess I can't buy GOYA. I guess when I go to my store, like I wouldn't care. I'll buy GOYA, whatever. But what happens is the people that are against that whole don't buy GOYA shit, they just buy whatever's in the store. They don't care enough to go out of their way to make a statement like, well, I'm not going to go in there anymore. I think the GOYA thing to me was the first sign of it, where it's like all of a sudden the people that didn't usually don't get involved, they're like, you know what? I'm going to go buy fucking 1 million cans of GOYA just to fucking prove a point. Like, but see, these are people that normally just like, in other words, it's this group of people that watch TV shows, and then every once in a while they go like, I guess I can't watch that show anymore because they canceled that guy. Like, and they don't get mad. They don't fight back and say, bring that guy back. They just go, all right, well, whatever. And I think the GOYA thing was the first sign of like, there's going to be there's going to be a recourse to your actions. So be careful. Be careful next time you tell us to boycott something that doesn't deserve a boycott. And that's been the thing, starting with the Kaepernick thing. I think when Nike took on Kaepernick, I think a lot of the people that were against it, they didn't burn their Nikes. They might have done, whatever, but they wear Nikes. They don't give a shit. And so Nike started to see like, oh, getting on this movement will not affect our sales we already have. And if anything, it'll increase our sales. Well, what happened with GOYA might start to make people double think, like, because this is the whole sad part. It's all about money. And when you hit these big companies in their pockets, they rethink how they really, like, they don't change how they feel. They just rethink their strategy. And I don't think that there's been repercussion to this cancel culture. And what happened to GOYA is a perfect example. Like, in other words, GOYA might now think, fuck it, I'll keep supporting the president if it's going to keep selling me cans of shit. And therefore, in turn, the mob is going to have to double think about everything that they want to cancel, because finally there might be actual repercussion from the people that they're taking shit away from for these unnecessary reasons.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
like what good?
I totally agree when it comes to.
But But let me ask you this, like what good would it have made, right? Like, here's what makes me laugh. This is kind of what I mean. I think what the GOYA guy said, he meant. And he didn't say anything like, I support all your policies, I love you, whatever. He just said kind of like, thank you for some of this, thanks for the opportunity, whatever. So that's how he feels. That's what he said, right? If he would have been forced by the mob to come out and say, I apologize and I don't support the president, yada, yada. First off, I don't think everything goes back to normal for you because you're still the guy, oh yeah, the GOYA guy, he supports Trump, he's a piece of shit. That's still going to be there. You know what I mean? So I wish more people would. I think the problem is that because people aren't saying and sticking up to their guns, like, dude, like you said about Drew Brees, like the conversation is closed now because Drew Brees rescinded everything he said. You know what I mean? And so everybody just keeps rescinding what they say. And therefore that spreads this wild message of, see, it's right to kneel for the flag. Nobody's against it. And if you're against it, you're wrong. Dude, I still don't, I mean, I don't know. I care now more than I did before, but I always looked at that issue as to each his own, you know, I don't really care. There's never been repercussion. And that's why this thing just keeps moving like a wave over people. Like, oh, you got in the way? Stand the fuck down or you're getting run over. And the thing that's funny is if everybody just stood their ground on their issues, we'd still be conversating about it. But instead, it's like, oh, get out of the fucking way of the mob. And that when, like, if more people stood up, like the GOYA situation, we'd have more people to look to when we consider what's right and what's wrong in politics. Because if enough companies said, listen, man, I like the president, then you would have that as things to say in conversation. Like, if he's so bad, then why does GOYA like him? Why does whatever? And we don't really know who likes him because just signing Kaepernick to Nike doesn't mean that Nike votes fucking liberal.
I mean, dude, you know, I don't know if I'm going off the rails on your spiel. I don't know if I'm going to connect this properly or whatnot. But when you talk about business and how they're reacting to the mob and certain morals and whatnot, the moral compass of, it seems like a good amount of people in America is just completely off. I mean, and this in connection with everything that we talked about earlier, you know, I get into arguments with people that if I would shoot somebody for breaking into my house, suddenly I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, why is that? I mean, essentially we're going to turn back to the Wild Wild West. You know what I mean? Because now everybody's going to be carrying guns and you're going to see more vigilantism. I don't know even if that's a word or not, but you're going to see more of that. You're going to see just the average person in altercations, you know, the fist fight that, you know, over a parking spot now is going to turn into a gunfight.
Well, here's the reason. Here's the reason why, you know, I'll just say one quick thing. The reason why it makes me sad, like if you think about what the GOYA guy did, he didn't do anything bad. But here's the part that people like me and you, we don't necessarily miss, but we're actually a step ahead in a sense. See, he did do something bad in people's eyes because Trump is a racist. So saying thank you to a racist is horrible. Siding with a racist is horrible. But this is what I'm trying to say. Who gets to decide who is and who isn't fucking racist?
Right.
You know? And so the fact that I don't see it as bad, what he did, makes people think that I'm a fucking horrible person. But the problem is I don't believe the same fucking thing about somebody's moral compass that you do. And if you really reevaluate, we can't say that about anyone. Like in our regular world, you can't just like that's what's funny. Like it seems like in the media, on Facebook, you can say whatever you want to people and they are who they are. Like a white guy just said a comment, so he's a racist. But actually, when I go out in the fucking world, I don't see the same thing happening. And it's kind of sick because people get to sit there and hide behind the fact that they're online, you know, or hide behind the fact that they don't really agree, but I'll retweet it because, like, fuck it, right? Fuck everybody. Yeah, I hate him too. So yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck Goya. Oh, and then here's the other part. Everybody thinks they got something funny to say and shit. So it's just another thing to hop onto. In other words, I bet you half of the Goya retweets and tweets that were probably funny, like AOC said, this is the sound of me Googling how to make my own Adobe or whatever. When she made that, she probably thought, this is a good one. This is a real good one. I bet she wouldn't say that shit right to the Goya. I bet you if her and the Goya CEO were sitting down talking, she probably couldn't even fucking stand a chance against the guy in just a conversation. But either way, all I'm saying is everybody sees another reason to retweet something and be funny or whatever. And it's like, dude, you're messing up people's lives.
I feel like the Goya part of this podcast was equivalent to the Kesha part of the of the podcast last week. I just heard Goya 6,000 times, and I'm like, how did we get on this?
Well, cancel culture, dude. They tried to cancel Goya. Can't take my fucking Godova beans away from me.
Them motherfuckers. You know who else they tried to cancel? Who's gonna fucking make everything right?
Who?
Fucking Kanye West. They tried to cancel him. Now he's gonna be fucking president of the United States.
Dude, there's no way in hell that man. Well, here's what I think. I think it's
DeSean Jackson's gonna fucking vote for him.
Is he?
I'm sure he will. Because he don't know. He quotes Hitler, so like he don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be like, Kanye, I love the college dropout. I'm voting for that motherfucker.
Dude, I wonder what Kanye's like. His situation must be so fucking weird when he like the industry he's in and what he does. And if this is why another reason why I don't think people really feel the way that they feel, because that man would just be like I can't like I mean. There's no way in hell that he could sit at a table with the people he sits with and they're not just like, dude, like if they really believe what they believe about Trump and that man has showed the kind of support for Trump that he has, his life is either a living hell or it's all bullshit at the top and they all think it's funny.
I got to be honest with you, dude. I fucking love him.
I love him too.
And I will say this, like when he came out and was like wearing a Trump hat and saying all this and that, I was like, dude, I want to work with this guy.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to go fucking be like an assistant. And it has nothing to do with Trump because I know some people are probably, the 5 listeners that we have might be like, I knew it. Yeah. I knew he was a fucking racist. I knew he fucking liked that Trump guy. I liked it because it was different. And he was sitting there and he was like, did you see his interview? Dave Letterman had a Netflix special.
Yeah. That's a great. I was going to refer to that. I forgot who it was. Go ahead.
And he talked about he's like backstage. I'm about to go on a concert and people are like you can't wear that hat. And like I'd leave my house and people were like you shouldn't be wearing that hat. And he was like, I felt like it was a cape. Like I felt like a superhero because I'm doing things that people are telling me I can't do.
Yeah.
And
well, basically just putting that hat on was like, dude. And I mean, I really understood what he meant because it's like dude, I'm not talking about supporting Trump or something. I'm just talking about the way things are in the world right now. There's shit that you literally are like, I can't do. Like if you go back 10 years ago, one of us would wear a Trump hat without liking him because it would be funny. But now you can't even, like, in other words, if you were to be like there's been many a times where I thought, oh, I'll do this or something. And then I've never in my life considered wearing something that might actually get me hurt. You know what I mean?
They've made it as polarizing as the KKK, like putting on, a KKK outfit. So and it's
you know where this is very dumb, but it's kind of something that I could use to relate to what I think it meant. It's like I was scared to do a podcast. Not scared, but you're like, oh man, I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know whatever. And I still don't. And I still don't think we're great or anything. But what I'll say is, once we posted one up, I'm like, what else can you do to me? You know what I mean? My fear was hurdled in a sense. And so what I took from what Kanye said was like, he went out, he did something that he supported that he was scared to do. And the backlash came. And when the dust settled, he might have caused some controversy, might have pissed some people off, might have got some bad publicity for it. But at the end of the day, he felt free. And I really feel that in the world we live in right now, I am feeling these feelings of like having myself censored. And it's kind of gross because I don't remember a time when I felt it before. And I'm not saying censored because I can't go outside and wear a MAGA hat. I'm talking about censored because I can't tell you how I feel personally about issues that are affecting me personally out of fear of persecution from the mob. And that's fucking weird.
It is.
You can lose your fucking job if you make a fucking statement that you fucking disagree with. My chef from my job who took a different job, I don't want to get into it because his situation is stupid. He is an idiot, and he did do it to himself. But it's because he won't stand behind it. He posted. Somebody put a bunch of things of like, what would you do if the protest came and got in front of your car or something, right? And this dude commented underneath, they'd be speed bumps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong, insensitive, right? But I personally didn't think that was a horrible thing. Not that I'm saying running over people isn't a horrible thing. I'm just saying if someone was to have that conversation and weren't really political and we were to be sitting in a circle and somebody goes, dude, you hear about the guy that ran over all them fucking protesters because they were trying to break his car up? I think that feeling like, fuck those people, I'd run them over, doesn't mean you're against anything. Doesn't mean anything. It just means you said something slightly fucking comical about how
I gotta get the fucking work.
Yeah, right?
I gotta get the fucking work. I got bills to pay.
And so this guy's job got attacked, right? Yeah. And then what this guy did wrong was I could fucking read you this message, but I don't feel like it. But basically, he keeps telling everybody his Facebook account got hacked or something, which is like ridiculous. But the bottom line is he got fired. You know what I mean? And this is the world we live in. I don't think that that's a bad thing, what he said. In other words, like if you just take everything out of your head and the politics weren't so high, if this protest was over anything else, like if somebody said like, what would you do if all those mask protesters that want to reopen the fucking government started getting in front of your car and fucking trying to get in it? I'll run them right the fuck over. What's so wrong in saying that? Just shooting the shit with whatever. I see a lot of worse posts online. But I guess what I'm saying is now that guy is running around lying to people. Like maybe he's not normally a liar. Now he's still lying to people because he's every job he gets and they're like, well, what happened at your last job? My account got hacked. And now you're living in a lie, you know? Yeah. You're living in a lie because you're afraid of telling the truth about something that's not even that fucking crazy, you know? And I don't know. I think it's a really sad world we live in, Tom.
Yeah, and you know what? When you start to go on this rant, I thought would have been a fucking awesome visual for the YouTube viewers. When you were like, you know, I was really nervous starting this podcast because this and that, but then if you had your fucking hair up in a bun and then you just let your fucking hair down, you're like, you know what? But we fucking made it, man. We fucking did it.
Looks like we made it. Look at that shit.
It's fucking beautiful. It's fucking beautiful. So, yeah, man. I mean, listen, I was in the same boat. I still kind of am. As far as like, I don't know that somebody's going to listen to this and be like, they just sound like a couple of privileged ass racist white men. Like they're just mansplaining everything to us in the world. you know, and it's like, look, I don't fucking care if you think it's a fucking mansplaination. I don't care if you don't agree with me, but I have a right to voice my opinion. And look, and I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. I know there's a lot of people that have similar feelings that maybe are afraid to talk about it. This is nothing that we say on this podcast, which, you know, is coming from a hateful place. It's coming from a place of just misunderstanding. Most of the things that I'm bringing up in conversation is because, like, I don't understand how we maneuver in this world. Like, it's just really confusing.
Yeah.
And you know,
and like, I think like our opinions and our, like, the issues that we bring up, like, let's get right to the root of it. Like, I'm not here to justify my, like, I'm not having a podcast to try and dismiss all racism in the world and say it's all bullshit. No, all we're talking about is the thwarted issues that come up, and how we're just trying to fucking navigate through, you know, where should we be fucking valuing opinions, and what is the right thing to do. I don't believe in cancel culture. I don't believe in racism, but I don't believe in people being shut down for saying things that they didn't even understand maybe were going to hurt somebody's feelings, you know. And so, you know, we aren't telling anyone how to feel, what to feel, what's right and what's wrong. We're just saying fucking, you know, how we feel about it. And if you have a fucking opposing opinion or an opposing view or something, please fucking comment. Let me know. But just know that nobody here is for racism or injustice, or, you know, we just want to fucking figure out this world, okay? And we don't read the books.
We don't read the books, but we do read the comments. So I would love to fucking to go on YouTube or on the iTunes on the podcast, and somebody be like, "You guys suck a dick, stick a fucking dick in your ear, that's you," and whatever, something like, you guys are the worst podcast ever.
If you have any anguish and anger in your heart that you want to release anywhere, our comment part, just bring it. Say whatever you want.
Yeah, because we need a little fan interaction here. Just, you know what I mean?
But oh my God!
But no, I was you know, I was actually nervous too, and especially with the YouTube views, because like I feel like it could destroy my dating life. Like,
yeah,
like girls are like, oh, I can go on his YouTube. Like, he's not as cute as I thought he was.
Yeah, look at me, bro. What the fuck? You think I want to be here with this fucking mug?
I think I want to be. Yeah, but you got a steady piece of ass. Like, I'm over here. I got nothing.
I still have a fucking heart and feelings, Tom.
Oh, well, I know that, but like, dude,
you know,
like,
just because I have a girlfriend doesn't mean that if somebody that putting my fat face out here isn't going to make me feel any type of way. But dude, it's difficult. Like, what I'm trying to say, even just by using the podcast too, is like, it's fucking difficult. It's difficult for people to take a step into waters that they're unfamiliar with. And you know what? It doesn't fucking help anybody to have them fucking feel attacked or backlashed for fucking stepping to the table. You know, if someone steps to the table and they're trying to have the conversation with you and you want to shun them and destroy them for what they say, understand that all you did was scare the shit out of that person, when really they obviously care enough that they were trying to fucking come to the table. We all know the difference between a bad fucking post and a good post and whatever else. Oh.
So
what is this?
All right, so this is what I was trying to go about. Like, you know, I didn't mean to like cut you off mid statement there, but yo, this broad's pretty hot, right? She's pretty hot. So my point was, I was going to transition to the next phase of this, and that. So I'm
keeping that picture up.
So, well, this is again. So, I how you were mentioning that you have or I mentioned that you have a girlfriend, so you have a steady piece of ass. I, on the other hand, do not. Now, For those of you at home right now, I just sent Daniel a picture of a chick that I matched with on Bumble.
She's
right?
fake. She's fake.
Well, so she says, love a good talking in a quiet place, laughing with someone in the corner of a crowded room when the sun shines through my blinds in the morning. The smell of the air outside after it rains. Road trips with no set destination. More burgers, less salad. More margaritas, less roses. More summer, less snow. She's 5'5". She's pretty hot. And so she messaged me yesterday. Hi, how are you?
Do you have $25,000?
Yeah, exactly. This is what I mean when, like, I think I touched on a little bit, like how I was like, hey, how you doing, baby cakes? Or how you doing, beautiful? Like, I don't really know what to fucking say.
Yeah.
So this is how this conversation went. Hey, how are you? I said, hey, I'm good. How's your night? She said, good. I'm great. Just took a bath and studied, getting ready to sleep. Now, that was last night.
I'm going to close my eyes, Tom. Read that back to me. Good. I'm just kidding.
Well, she's getting ready to go to sleep. Now, listen, I didn't respond because I'm like, I don't know where to go.
Yeah. And you're getting ready to go to sleep.
Yeah. So, like, what am I? If, like, I don't want to keep messaging you, you're going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're going to talk a little dirty and you want to talk a little.
Well, this is the other part about when, why I could never grasp the whole online shit. Because that's so fucking, in other words, on one angle, is that an invite? Is that like a, hey, I'm messaging you, but I'm about to go to sleep? Like, is it an invite for dirty talk? Is it an invite for, or is it like letting you know, like, I'm going to sleep, so don't bother me right now?
Dude, this is, so again, I'm really bad at this, and I just don't know exactly what to do. Okay. Now I'm going to send you option. This is option number 2.
Yeah.
All right. Now this is on match.com because I got pretty much all of the fucking dating sites cornered.
Well, right? if you want a good text to send back to that girl, I think what I would have said, and I'm pretty good at this, and I would have probably said back to her, oh, great. Nice titties. Let's fuck.
Yeah, that's usually my go-to.
All right, now this person's real. Yeah,
but she's pretty hot too, right?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. See, that's what I used to look for, is like the other one. That's crazy. I don't even trust her. Like, here's the thing: she could be this absolutely beautiful girl sending you messages like, "Oh, I'm sleeping in bed," but I don't fucking trust it. She looks
too hot.
And this is what I always used to say too. That's when you know you're a different level of hot, because people are looking and they're like, she's fake. No one's ever looked at a picture of me and said, that guy's fake. No. Now, this other girl you sent, there's a realness there.
But she's still really attractive.
Yeah, very much so.
Like, she actually, some other pictures, she kind of reminds me of Rosie Perez a little bit.
Do the Rosie Perez talk for me.
Danny, you're so stupid, Danny.
Shut up, Rosie.
I just gave Dan. Oh, is there subliminal there?
I love me from Rosie, man.
Yeah. For some people, may not understand that reference. But anyway, so now there's second chick, right? This is, oh shit. How do I get?
Well, I got the second chick up. I'm good.
Yeah. So
I'm going to go back to the first chick for just a second. Then I want to go back to the other one.
Well, so I just want to let you know that now this is how the conversation with the second chick went. I wrote her first. See, on Bumble, the chick has to initiate the conversation, which is why the other girl wrote me first. So I said, hey, so are you open to have a vacation, buddy? Because she said she likes to go on vacations, blah, 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 blah. And I said, so how's this whole match thing working out for you? And then she wrote back, she said, haha, match is as expected. I mean, I don't have any horror stories, yet I'm still here. How's it going for you? Is no horror stories yet? Ha ha ha. I would imagine COVID. This is like really entertaining, right?
Well, you should write her back like I always laugh because like, what do you write her back like? Oh yeah, I mean, I got fucked a lot on this, but you know,
Yeah. Well, first
do you
of all,
tell him? Do you tell him do you give him a sad story like, yeah, I've tried to date a lot of girls, but I suck.
yeah, that's how I should start off. Like,
So the only thing you can say is, I don't use it a lot.
yeah. Well, I said though, I was like, well, I said no horror stories yet. Haha. I would imagine COVID saved you from that. So what have you been doing to keep yourself occupied during our lockdown? Right. That's a good segue. Something interesting, right? And she said, well, I'm still going into the office, running, working out at home, and lots of beach time. How about you? Okay, right there. I got nothing to respond to that because I'm not running anywhere. All right. I'm not working out at home. Like I'm fucking watching Netflix. That's about it.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm jealous. I haven't had any beach time. I was lucky to keep working during all this. I started a podcast with a friend of mine. So that helps.
Until they asked to see it. Oh, what podcast?
Well, so she didn't respond. And now I didn't ask a question for her to respond to.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, I feel like she should respond with a question because I've been fucking pressuring her.
Yeah.
For, questions getting, you know what I mean? So like, this is where she could be like, well, hey, so where do you live? What do you do?
Yeah.
Well, what's your podcast about? Anything. And this is what I mean. Like, I'm so bad at this shit, bro. Like, I match with these broads. Yeah, I said these broads. And there's going to be some females that are fucking unhappy with that terminology. But anyway, I'm joking.
I love the word broad.
Yeah, whatever. I'm old school. I'm 40. That's how we used to talk when I was 14.
Yeah. Hey, what's up with these fucking broads over here? Hey.
What are these fucking broads doing on the corner over here? So yeah, dude. Like I'm just completely fucking clueless. Like I'm like I don't know. And the worst thing about all of this is, and like a lot of them are like looking for a real man. Meanwhile, they're fucking posting selfies with puppy dog ears and shit filters on fucking Instagram. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
But dude, I'm telling you something right now. I've seen these pictures, right? Like I've met girls that have come into my fucking bar and they take a few fucking pictures and then maybe I meet them. Maybe they give me their Instagram name, maybe something. I'm not even like talking about girls that I've like flirted with. I'm talking about like friends of friends who maybe like they're at the bar and like, dude, my bar will be empty. There's nobody in it. It was like the shittiest night for me. And then I'll get a friend request from the girl and I'll look at her fucking post from like the past hour and she can make my dead ass bar look like she was having like her real life was, where are we going next? This place sucks. But if you looked at her post, this bitch was fucking living the life of Riley all night. So I don't believe that shit. I don't believe them girls. I don't believe that shit on fucking Match. I don't believe that Tumblr shit. These girls are fake. All of yous. You and your fucking little lion cub pictures and jumping out of fucking airplanes. It's all phony.
Yeah, like they're saving kids in Africa and going spelunking and shit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like
I woke up, jerked off, took a shit, had a cup of coffee, went back to bed, took a nap, watched fucking some stupid Netflix movie, jerked off again, and then did my podcast with Tommy. You really want me to tell you that?
Yeah. Meanwhile, like every 5 minutes, I think I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah.
So like that's my life. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm 40 now. Like, am I coming? Am I coming? Weezy?
Hey, that dude. I'll tell you something right now. When you do get older, it's funny because now I understand it. Because when I was 20, if I got like a little heart palpitation, I said, "Oh man, I probably fucking worked out a little too hard or something." Now that happens, and I sit back and I'm like, "This is it. This is where it's going to be for me." On the toilet in my worst pair of fucking underwears with a shit stain in them.
I get fucking heart palpitations if I blink too fucking fast. Yeah. Like it's fucking unbelievable, dude. So like, yeah, I don't know. I got a couple matches recently and I'm like, some of these bros are smoking hot. And I'm like, this is why, like, so I have some other guy friends that are single, and they're like, dude, if I could just take your fucking phone, I'd have these fucking bitches lining up down the street, and I'd be smashing and all this. And I'm like, I don't know what you want. I don't know how to go about it. Like,
but this is the sad part about it. This is really why I fucking never cared for it, because that guy might actually be right. Okay. But here's what I think is funny is he knows everything to say. It's basically it's like, you know how to fish, you know, it's like, doesn't mean that the guy she ends up with, like, in other words, the shit they're looking to have said to them is so ridiculous that they fall for it. But yet a guy like you, who doesn't know how to even fucking start saying that kind of bullshit, is sitting at home with nobody. And this other guy is rounding them up every week because he's taking the fucking koala bear picture and he's jumping out of a fucking airplane, literally just so he could fucking get that girl's attention.
Well, it's funny because a guy that I'm friends with, you know, he would always bust my balls, and he'd be like, "Dude, if I had your face, I'd be fucking slaying Delco. I'd just be all over the place." And I'm like, and he goes, "Dude, you want to know what your problem is?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." He goes, "You just got to take these girls out, get a couple beers, and be like, yo, you want to go grab some wings, watch a fucking game, something, you know, just bullshit. Make them fuck tell a joke." And he's like, "Meanwhile, you're over there at the bar on your phone, like all like sitting there, like all dark and mysterious, and like you're fucking Prince or something, like." And then he's like, and then a girl starts talking to you, like, "Oh, he's cute. Hey, how you doing?" And you're like, and he's like, and then you're like, "What's up? Do you like talk about philosophy?" Like, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of accurate.
Well, that's the thing that's funny though too is that, like that, you know, what do they want to talk about and shit, and that's why I will say this, and I said it going up, it's like, my girlfriend, dude, she's awesome. She does shit for me. She supports me. I have support in a way I never had before. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think about a lot of the shit that I do and how I can accredit some of that maybe even to her, because, you know, like the other day she's like taking pictures of herself for Instagram and shit. And I'm like, I bought her a little tripod, like, so she could do it, you know, but it's like a weird kind of thing of like having kind of a no judgment and support and whatever. And all my other relationships were so fucking like, everything was fine, but it was like we were both feeling like we were supposed to be doing something, especially the girl. Like, in other words, like they want to go to these fucking parties and take the same pictures, and they're looking at their friend's picture. Like, yeah, I mean, even my girlfriend is like this. Like, she'll want to go somewhere simply because there's a photo that she can take, you know? And I realize like the whole day doesn't mean anything. So what's going on now in the world is like, people are like, I want that fucking photo because of what it shows people, you know? Oh, you were there, you did this. And what I'm learning about life is, and I even said it about the pandemic, it's like, think about the way the world works. What has the pandemic really done for me? Nothing. It was weird. It's really weird to be on unemployment. I'm stuck in the house. Now going back to work is weird, yeah. But nothing really crazy. I don't feel any crazy way about it, especially because humans have an amazing ability to adapt to their situations. However, wait till you see in 50 years from now, 60 years from now, well, we won't be around, but when they're talking to people like, and one of the last survivors of the coronavirus pandemic, and everybody's going to say, oh my God, they were alive when they shut down the government, and they shut down jobs and the economy. And what was that like? And the thing is nobody's going to want to hear that real girl story. Like, it was all right. I fucking stayed in the house for a little bit. They gave us fucking $1,000 a week. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much different when you look at it and you weren't in it. But when you're in it, it's not really that cool. And that's how I feel about those Instagram photos. Like, we see a picture of a girl holding a lion cub. What we don't see is that it's a guy standing on a corner outside of like a fucking cheap ass flea market bazaar in Mexico. And there's a line of fucking chicks just going up, holding the cub, taking a picture. We see that fucking thing as like, oh my God, this bitch is exotic. She's running around with fucking tiger cubs, you know?
Yeah. Is that fucking Joe Exotic that she's posing with?
I'll tell you what, dude, Joe Exotic's a cool ass motherfucker.
Well, I mean, thank God he was around during the
Dude,
quarantine.
You want to get a fucking cool ass Instagram photo that'll updo any one of them girls like holding them tiger cubs? Go get yourself a picture of you holding fucking Joe Exotic in your arms.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine if we could try and get him on the podcast. How about that?
He's in jail right now. He's trying to get Trump to pardon him.
Yeah, I saw that.
But dude, I'll tell you what, I gotta pee and probably fucking call it. What do you think?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Any fucking thing you want to say before we go?
No, not really. I thought it was
nice.
I thought it was a pretty good conversation.
Yeah, it was good. We'll let the world decide.
Yeah. Other than we're still working on. Oh shit! I'm running my dog over. I'm backing up on my dog.
But no, we're still working on some shit.
Yeah, so we appreciate all the support so far. I know we keep saying that, but obviously we want to get to a point where we're having some interesting guests on here. So we got to work on that, and hopefully we get some negative feedback, something.
Yeah. I mean, come on, what's it take to just hit subscribe?
Yeah.
Can't be that hard. I mean, we're sitting here. I don't care whether you like it or don't like it. Hey, we're pouring our fucking heart outs and risking our fucking livelihoods just to come on a podcast and tell everybody how we feel.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, shit, I fucking cried the last fucking podcast.
Yeah, I know. And we only put that up today. So I don't know if anybody saw that yet, but I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I didn't see the visual. I just listened to the audio. I sounded like it was I was like oh.
Well, I got nervous because you'll hear what you hear me say is when you start to do it. I mean, it's not, in fairness too. Maybe we shouldn't have this conversation, but it wasn't anything to be upset about, to be ashamed of, and I think it was something actually kind of that speaks for you in different ways. But what's fun?
Different ways.
Well, no, what I mean is, you had a fucking, it was more about your friendship with your friend in that situation. But what I think is funny, though, is as you're doing it, I'm like, you choking up, Tom?
Yeah, like you're like, yo, bro, you all right? You having a little...
Well, I didn't want to interrupt it either, but I didn't know what was going on. Like for a second, I thought maybe he's choking.
Yeah, I was like choking on my whiskey.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, guys, like us, subscribe, fucking comment, tell me I look like a fucking fat pig, whatever you want to do. Any suggestions we're open to.
Yeah.
Anybody want to be a guest?
Tell me guest, how should I respond to these?
Yeah. Give Tommy some dating tips.
Yeah, turn us into Love Line. You know what I mean? Give us some fucking dating tips.
Yeah. All right. Well, Tom, love you, buddy.
All right, until next time.
Until next time, like and subscribe. LTP, read the books.
Later.
Later.